Good evening. Welcome to the City of Avon Lake City Council regular meeting for July 13th at 7 o'clock. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Levis, if you would lead us, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. First item tonight is the roll call. If the clerk would call the roll, please.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Here.
Ms. Gentry.
Here.
Mrs. Goodwin.
Here.
Mr. Koss.
Here.
Mr. Reynolds.
Here.
Mr. Shamir.
Here.
Mr. Smith.
Here.
Mayor Spetzel.
Here.
Law Director Ebert.
Here.
Finance Director Crossy.
Here.
Public Works Director Liskovic. And City Engineer Levis.
Here.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is correspondence. Is there any correspondence for council? Seeing none. Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Shamir.
Yes. I had two correspondence from residents. The first is from Liberty Rose Drive, and it's with respect to maintenance of the land directly adjacent to properties which backs on Pulte, and that property not being maintained. And it's at 32005 Liberty Rose is where that correspondence came through. And the next one was a question which I could not answer, is with respect to fire hydrant painting, whether that is an Avon Lake Regional Water or a public service department, public works department issue.
I think it might be the fire department. Mayor?
We've actually done it in the past. We usually get hire summer help or whatever, usually to go out there and do that. It hasn't been done for the last couple of years, I don't think.
All right.
Okay.
So for anybody at home that didn't hear, the acting fire chief indicated the fire department has used summer help to paint the hydrants.
I will send you the details. Thank you.
Thank you. Liberty Rose, do they have a homeowners association there?
They do, but it's not the HOA that is having that. They've sent, the HOA has sent requests to the city, and I think they've been in touch with Pulte, so they just need to get that issue resolved.
All right.
They've got
Thank you.
growth in their backyards.
Thank you. Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Thank you. I received a number of emails. The first one had to do with the road conditions in Britannia Estates and the holes that are there. Then today I received notice that we were starting to fill those potholes internally. The next email came from a resident on 83 having to do with her front yard was torn up and property around her was torn up due to the construction of the Pulte development behind her and the Columbia Gas there, and she wanted to know when reconstruction was going to take place. That was handled through the city engineer and Pulte. The next one that I received had to do with property maintenance issues. There was a concern by a resident that the property maintenance manager was too brisk with her, and she feels that she fulfilled everything that she could. And then she gave me a list of other properties that she thought needed to have property maintenance, and those were already on the target of the city. The next emails all had to do with one of two topics. Either had to do with the tax rate that's being discussed tonight, or it had to do with the income tax increase that's going to be discussed tonight. Thank you, Council President.
You're welcome. Thank you. Any other correspondence?
I did have one.
Yes, Ms. Gentry.
So there's one of the properties, Don Webb and Mr. Sorry, the engineer, I can't remember your last name, sorry.
Elise.
Sorry. Not sure if you were aware, Mr. Liskovic and Howard were working on a property issue that I'll forward the information to you because there was a deadline that was missed.
Thank you. Any further correspondence? All right, seeing none. Next on the agenda is public input. Anyone in the public wishing to come forward? Come forward. You have 5 minutes to discuss any topic in the city that you like. Thank you.
Good evening,
Welcome.
everybody.
Good evening.
Debbie
Name and
Rutan,
address, or name and
and
city.
I am an Avon Lake proud resident. I visited about a week and a half ago at the, I think the committee is called Public Safety, Mr. Casa's committee. And I spoke a little bit about e-bikes, and I suggested to me that it might be a good idea for me to come back and talk to council, go on the record. So I'm going to revisit my conversation with you all that I had that evening, and I'll try to make it quick. In 1936, Ohio started requiring you to be age 16 to get a driver's license, which included a mandatory driving exam. The current requirements to get a driver's license is to be age 15 and a half for a learner's permit and have it a minimum of 6 months. You have to complete 24 hours of classroom instruction. You have to be behind the wheel training for 8 hours with an instructor, and you have to log 50 hours of practice driving with your parent or guardian. Motorcycle endorsements came about in 1972. I think I mentioned I was on my dad's 350 Honda about that time, and I got my endorsement. Currently, anybody under the age of 18 must get a temporary permit and have that for a minimum of 6 months. They must complete a driver's education course. They must log 50 hours of driving on the motorcycle and 10 hours of that at night. They have to pass a mandatory safety education course, and parents have to sign off on an application if they're under age 18. 15 and a half to 18, there's an additional requirement. Motorcycle Ohio Basic Skills Course is mandatory for that. Now, having said that, we have a good number of kids that are out enjoying themselves on e-bikes. Many, the 3 classes of e-bikes. There's e-motos that aren't the same. Unfortunately, manufacturers have made it very easy for kids to override the computer system and increase the maximum speed of any class of bike that they have of a computer. So it's not unusual to see a 10 or 12-year-old bragging that their e-bike will go 40 miles an hour. That's unfortunate that there aren't better laws in place nationally to prohibit that from happening, but it does. I gathered a little information that was easy for me to get today. Dayton Children's Hospital, that's from the area we live most of our lives. And I had access to getting their information pretty easily, so that's why I'm using that as a sample. In 2025, January through Labor Day, 80% increase in e-bike and e-scooters versus car accidents. In the year 2026 so far, January through June, the numbers have more than doubled what they were for the entire year for 2025. That is also e-bikes or e-scooters versus cars. Now, we know that this is a problem everywhere. That's not just an Avon Lake problem. We know that. And I think most people are in agreement that we need to do something. What I'm suggesting is that we consider, and if we're the first to do it, fine. There'll be more cities in line. There'll be more states that will be looking more seriously at this as cities start making changes individually. But I'm suggesting that we make an age restriction where a child has to be 14 years old in order to ride an e-bike. They have to also follow the laws, but the laws say that you have to follow the rules of the road. Well, I will tell you that I have a grandson, my youngest grandson. He's 12. I can tell you, he could tell you, he's passed the safeguard boating course exams. He can tell you jet engine specs in most private jets. He can tell you rocket specs for NASA's rockets. But he's 12. He doesn't have the mental capacity or development, I should say, not capacity, but development, to understand the rules of the road without some training. And we have no way to train these children. They're getting out there and they're riding, and we know what all is happening on the road. They're not familiar with the rules of the road. And I don't think that they do have the capacity to be able to, without education and training and requirements similar to what we ask people to have when they ride a motorcycle or drive a car. But we need to temporarily maybe put something in place that's an age requirement and work toward developing some sort of required courses that they could attempt. Thank you all very much for your attention. As usual, I appreciate you very much.
Thank you, thank you. All right. Mr. Phillips, welcome.
Gerald Phillips. I'm a tax attorney, CPA, and a resident of the city of Avon Lake for 20 years. I want to talk about 4 ordinances on the agenda, 2654, 69, 70, and 71. I want the residents to be informed of what I consider is tax extortion, a scam, a scheme, and deception being held by the administration and city council. On the May ballot, there was a 0.4% increase for individuals working within the city and without the city. And that was for 6 years. 65% was supposed to go to the streets and roads, 35% for the storm sewers, traffic controls, and capital expenditures. But 57% of the people voted it down. Now on the agenda today, we got 2654, which is a 1% resident income tax credit reduction. 1% income tax increase for all Avon residents working outside the city. A couple making $100,000 will pay $1,000 a year forever because there's no limitation, forever. Also, it goes to the general fund, which means it can be spent on anything, not roads or any of the other items. Now, Avon Lake has a unique provision in their charter, Section 9A. It gives this body the right to put on the ballot 2654. So council has that right. But if they put it on the ballot, that will derail that tax extortion, scam, scheme, and deception. Now also 2669 is on the agenda, and that puts back on the ballot for November the same tax in May that was defeated. And 2670 is the legislation that will put it on the ballot. Now 2671 is the key and crucial element in this tax extortion, scam, scheme, and deception, because if passed, it will repeal 2654. But to do that, you must pass 2669, the same income tax increase that you, the residents, voted down in May. So you will have no meaningful choice to vote both of those down. You will be compelled to vote for 2669, the 0.4% increase. Under Ohio law, residents do not have the right to vote on a resident income tax reduction, which is a tax increase. But the charter, as I said, Section 9, will give the right to vote for you, the residents, if this body so desires. But if they don't, okay, then you won't have that right to vote. And I want the residents to be aware of how everybody votes tonight, council and the mayor, because the mayor has a veto power on 2654. And whatever their voting record, I hope residents remember that in future elections. I will be undertaking a petition drive to derail this tax extortion, scam, scheme, and deception, because I will give the residents of Avon Lake a right to vote on Ordinance 2654, the resident income tax reduction. We will back libraries, Veterans Park, Miller Road Park, Blesser Park, baseball games, community events, gathering petition signatures to give you, the residents of Avon Lake, the right to vote. In my law practice for many years, I've been a champion for citizens and their right to vote on all issues. I even formed an organization, Ohio Citizens for Honesty, Integrity, and Openness in Government. I've had drives in Avon, Lakewood, and Sheffield Lake where we have charter amendments to give the residents the right to vote on tax increases through the loophole of reducing the resident income tax credit. I will petition very hard to give you, the residents of Avon Lake, the right to vote on 2654. If you need any further information, I can be reached at 440-258-0291. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Anyone else wishing to come forward?
Hello, my name's Leanne Haig. I live at 32177 Lake Road. I have been a resident of Avon Lake for 25 years. I work still in the legal field for over 42 years. I have to drive an hour away. I'm not discussing the tax. I'm discussing Ordinance 1490-07. This is the exterior appearance of your home. I have written a note, Ms. Fenderbosch mentioned it in email. It was directed to Mr. Mahoney. I copied, because I'm sorry, I didn't know which one of you was really my ward person. I copied both Jennifer and Amy because I received a letter from Mr. Mahoney about the appearance of my home. My home sits back from Lake Road. It's on the south side. It has tremendous oak trees surrounding it. I was not home. He ventured onto my property. Observed from the back, I have woods in a reverse L that showed high overgrowth. Was not defined, it was very vague. I had total knee replacement surgery in September. I'm still recuperating. Just as of a couple weeks ago, I was able to mow my entire front. I was pushing towards the backwoods, but it rained, as we all know, substantially in June. I had no date of inspection, none whatsoever. The letter was not signed. However, it mentions that you will be assessed because you're in violation of a misdemeanor and jail. I think that is ludicrous, and I think the citizens need to know there's no transparency with Mr. Mahoney. I would like to know what judge, what court tells me that I have a misdemeanor on my name and that I'm going to go to jail. When I have provided implicitly on my email what type of lawn care I have done since March, I told him I have a concrete slab for my porch. My roof was just worked on in 2026. With the storms, oak trees drop. They drop branches. There's moss. I can't get up on the roof yet. I can't climb a ladder. However, I was on a ladder, a short one, yesterday painting my house because he noticed some flecking of paint. So I'm painting my house. My son is no longer with me. He's in Columbus. He was an outstanding citizen himself at Avon Lake Public School, honors, as well as his athleticism. I wanted the citizens to know that this appearance that Mr. Mahoney goes about, he ventures on your property, that's trespassing, and then he assesses violations. He doesn't answer. Jennifer gave me some review, but it doesn't offer any retraction. It doesn't offer any remediation or any appeal process. Mr. Ebert, I would like to know if you even look at the letters that he's issuing, because I think it's concerning. And it is not just me. And I will let you know, I have shared this letter and this information with quite a few citizens in my area and further south. They're very concerned. And I think it's appalling. I didn't know we lived in Cleveland. I thought we lived in Avon Lake and that we had reasonable people in position. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Haig, for your comments. Mr. Haas, welcome.
Good evening. Bob Haas. I'm a Ward 1 resident, and tonight I am going to speak in my capacity as president of the Community Improvement Corporation. And really, there's 3 points. One, you'll have the recommendation before you to appoint Dr. Remy to the CIC. As I said at the CCM, we think he's going to be a great candidate. And then if it's appropriate, I know we had some other very good applicants, and if it's appropriate, I'd like to work with Mrs. Rossmarin to send a letter to them, encourage them to stay involved with the CIC and offering to meet with them if they'd like to discuss the work of the CIC. Next, at last week's meeting, we discussed the Job Growth Incentive Plan. We knew that matter was coming before council. We weren't sure, we did not have the ordinance in front of us at the time, so we didn't speak to that or make any specific recommendations regarding the Job Growth Incentive Plan. But I thought Mr. Busey's comments might be useful to you, a former colleague on council. And this is not verbatim, it's slightly edited, but I think the idea that he was expressing might be useful to you in your deliberations. Mr. Busey said, as we discussed things, the Job Growth Incentive Plan was the thing that I did when I was on council. It was more than a thing. I think he was really the driving force to get the Job Growth Incentive Plan started within the city. That was 14 years ago, a long time ago. So I fully understand that circumstances change, situations change. It was the right thing to do at the time, but things evolve. The Job Growth Incentive Plan, was more about serving as a retention and attraction program. And the whole point was to try to get the Job Growth Incentive Plan, face time with the businesses and get the message out to the greater Cleveland community, because the Job Growth Incentive Plan was the one thing that set Avon Lake apart and from everybody else. And it was. The program, when it was first initiated, was well received and got very good publicity. But things change, and for better, for worse, we tried. I don't think it ever caught on the way he had originally envisioned it. So, as he said, long-winded way of saying it's okay, and that was in the context of eliminating the Job Growth Incentive Plan, with the idea that council and the administration, as we discussed, are working very proactively and collaboratively on a framework and a strategic plan for economic development in the city going forward, a recognized need for funding for economic development activities. But maybe a different way or a different approach is now appropriate. So thank you for your time, and thank you for your consideration on that.
Thank you, Mr. Haas. Going forward, name and the city you live in, please.
Lori McCloskey, 754 Firestone, Avon Lake. I appreciate your time tonight. Just last week, a neighbor of mine forwarded me to Cleveland.com article about the income tax credit reduction. And I know that was on the May ballot and it was turned down, and he's like, so what? Now they're just doing it without. I'm like, what are you talking about? I hadn't heard of this. So I don't know if it's summer and we all just aren't paying attention, but that was the first I'd heard about it. I don't know if Avon Lake, citizens know about this. So one, I'm really disappointed that with our roads, I understand we need to do things, that it got to be the point it's at and so urgent before action is being taken. It seems to me, I'm a CPA, a CFP, I'm a planner, I'm a budgeter, I'm a planner. Things happen, we can see them coming, right? We've got to save money or we've got to figure out how to increase revenue. And so to me, it's disappointing as a citizen, and shame on me for not being more involved in knowing what's going on. I've never been to a city council meeting before. So it just seems like that can was kicked down the road for years, decades even. And I always wondered as an accountant, you know, how you got all your funding when all of our money for most of the time is going to other cities. I understand, you know, how that works as a tax preparer. So anyway, just disappointed in that and hope that we plan better in the future so we don't have to, you know, take such drastic action. And then to find out there's this loophole where we can reduce the credit, raise the tax on people. Inflation is hitting us all hard. We're doing okay, but I am looking at our budget going, this is insane. It has gone through the roof. We leave margin. I'm a planner. A lot of people don't have that, and other people are raising young kids right now, and it's just they've got a lot more expenses than I do. And even this to me is a big hit, a 1% increase. My husband works in Cleveland, 2.5%, 3.5%. This is more than our state income tax, you know? It's a lot of money. So this is a big increase, I feel like, for city council to be thinking of. And I know it's easy for you guys, you know, to vote, get it, we need the money. Everybody's complaining about the roads. I get that. We've had people on our street over the years complain about our road. It's been fixed, and I know everybody's hasn't been fixed. I get it needs to be done. But I feel like it's disrespectful to the taxpayers. So I really do hope that you really do put something on that November ballot to let the voters see it again. And this time, let the voter know, hey, here's the thing. We've got to do something. We have to have this money. Everybody wants the roads fixed, right? Just plain English, let us know, and it's either going to be 1.9%, a 0.4% tax increase, or it's going to be a 1% credit reduction. And let them know in plain English what that means. So an increase means, you know, and you're keeping the credit reduction at 1.5%, I believe, means everybody's paying 0.4% more, and the credit reduction means if you work outside of the city, you're paying 1% more. If you live and work in the city, you don't have a change. And let everybody know clearly what is really, you know, on the table and what your options are. We don't know this. We need better communication. I get that. I'm in an HOA and our board, and I've been on the board, and it's like just to communicate with 63 people, it's hard to find people that have time, or, you know, in what way do you communicate it so people read it, so they get the knowledge that they need to not just be mad, board rate or dues or whatever, right? Because it's really easy to get mad, but not to be involved and know what's going on. So I just, you know, challenge you to find ways. It's challenging, I know, but I was disappointed that this was not like on the Facebook page, so more people would see this. So then it seems like we're trying to sneak this through tonight, this credit reduction. Now, why wasn't it on the city Facebook page? People see that. I know it was on the city page, but we don't go check the city page every day, every week, right? We don't do that. The voters don't do that. And I just think it's disrespectful to us, the electorate, who you're representing, to not really, you know, be clear with us what the options really are here. So maybe I missed something as far as this credit reduction being what was going to happen if that ballot issue was voted down. I don't know. And then just hoping that you guys understand with the collections, I'm sure you do. I'm not trying to say you're stupid, but I'm an accountant, just have to say this. People, this can go through, but people are not going to change their paychecks January 1st. People in Avon Lake, I've lived for 26 years, right? They're used to, they get a full credit reduction. They don't know RETA at the end of the year. Now, come April of 28, they're going to be like, wait, why do I have a tax bill, right? They're not going to go to their employer. I've got it on my calendar already, December 21st, after the last paycheck, going to add that residence withholding, right? I don't like the surprise bills. But a lot of people are going to get that. They're not going to pay quarterly. They're not going to get it taken out. So you're not going to have this money until after April of 2028 when people file the 2027 tax returns, right? And even then, they're not going to be able to pay it. Now they're already 1 year and 4 months behind when they found out, right? Now they got to get a payment plan with RETA. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming, and we welcome you anytime you want to come and say hello to us about any issues that we have. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. President.
Good evening.
Members of Council, Robert Baker, City of Avon Lake, Liberty Rose. I'm here tonight speaking as a resident, specifically as a resident, and regarding the proposed ordinances that would reduce Avon Lake's municipal income tax credit and the broader legislative strategy that has appeared to emerge since this last week. Rather than simplifying the city's path forward, these measures appear to create a more complicated framework that poses to place additional pressure on taxpayers while avoiding the underlying issues of long-term planning, sustainability, and accountability. When we look beneath the surface of the legislation, we're not looking at a sudden, unexpected fiscal emergency. We're looking at the consequences of years of inadequate long-term planning and the continued absence of sustainable financial strategy. The mayor participated in 4 annual budget cycles as a member of council, and now has overseen 2 budget cycles as mayor. During that time, I do not recall residents being warned that the city was approaching a fiscal cliff. During the mayor's recent budget review, I sat in this room and listened to the hearing. Concerns seemed downplayed, somewhat ignored until after the budget was approved by council, and only then did our city's financial crisis seem to become a great concern. In May, the voters spoke clearly, whether you supported issue 13 or opposed it. The result was a democratic decision that deserved a meaningful response. Residents were told that if the issue failed, difficult spending decisions would be made. Cuts would be identified. To date, I've seen little tangible evidence of those promised actions. Have we seen those promised actions? We are now being presented with a series of ordinances that potentially ask residents to shoulder a greater burden while creating perception that taxpayers will face increasing financial consequences unless additional revenue is approved. Before imposing that burden, council should require administration to provide the sustainable strategic planning document that has been previously promised, but appears to not yet be delivered. Explain how existing resources are being utilized and identify the specific cost-saving measures that have been implemented, and return any future funding requests to the voters on its own merits, without additional measures that place pressure on taxpayers before the decision is made. The bottom line is, I've spoke to many of you, and Mr. President, we've spoken, and I agree. The hard truth is that additional funding is needed. Where I disagree is whether the administration has the public confidence at this point that those additional dollars would be managed any differently without better plans and management. What I and others in my community want demonstrated is that every reasonable effort has been made to manage existing resources, implement promised reforms, and provide the public with a sustainable long-term plan. Unless we're up against an election filing deadline, I urge council to take pause, preserve the existing 1.5 tax credit, insist upon transparency and accountability, and ensure that any future request for additional revenue is supported by a clear plan, measurable actions, and respect for the decisions of the voters. Thank you for that topic. I have a minute.
Yep, continue.
40 seconds. Separately, tonight there was, I'd like to briefly touch on Liberty Rose issue and Pulte's Portside development. In addition to the land maintenance issue, there's ongoing stormwater issues that over the holiday weekend, they had been existing for at least 4 months since I had reported them initially to Public Works Director. On the 4th of July weekend on Sunday, I called into the police department because Portside was completely flooded at Liberty Rose, near Liberty Rose, and Liberty Rose was almost flooded across in multiple locations. That resulted in Public Works a Public Works employee getting double time for cleaning those drains. Even after cleaning those drains, and likely, and I would say due to poor maintenance to design, they were unable to clear the drains. The drains were clean, the water didn't subside. I'd recommend that the city look at cost recovery on those options, because there should not be issues of that continuing. I'd also like to discuss that the city and Pulte continue to ignore mounting promises made, the ditch closure requirement, other ongoing issues that are causing continuing damage to my property and others neighboring properties. Much of the ongoing issues of unfulfilled promises have originated with the city and COF, but with the purchase of land, Pulte has added themselves to the list of agents continuing to increase their liability exposure. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. Welcome. Good.
Kevin Zabo, Avon Lake. Mr. President, I agree with much of the same sentiment that others spoke on behalf of the income tax credit. I know council's received some emails this week, maybe the past couple of weeks, from my brother, Frank Zabo. I'm not Frank. We both live in Avon Lake. We both have the same career path. But I think I would like to share a few additional thoughts, maybe other than my brother's given you. Last week, when the rest of the city was getting ready to go to the Avon Lake fireworks, the council was voting on the second reading, or given the second reading on this income tax credit. I did the quick math, and it appeared that they would basically have 3 readings within 21 or 22 days. Generally, it would be 3 full council meetings, 60, 90 days apart. It just seemed kind of fast to put this through. So that kind of raised the red flag. It doesn't pass the smell test from the citizen standpoint. I understand the city might have some shortfalls with finances with respect to roads and other things. I understand that the general fund cannot accommodate everything that the city does. I do think the recent tax levy that was on the ballot might have been the victim of recent county income tax or property tax increases. I think a lot of people just said flat out no. And I think the city paid the price for that on the tax levy. I have a few years left of work before I retire, so like this kind of affects me, it doesn't affect me, so I'd like to maybe help the city somehow to try to figure out a better way. I don't think the current path we're choosing right now is the best. I don't think the 1% reduction is the best course of action for the city. I think it's going to convolute the ballot, having both of them on there in November. And ultimately, I think the city would pay the price on all the levies that they try to come up with, because they're going to aggravate the taxpayers. You're going to have things like the paramedic levy at risk. You're going to have schools at risk. I don't think reducing this credit is the best course of action. I would ask the council reconsider the current course that they're planning and amend to try to come up with a better plan. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Zabel. Good evening, Mr. Schneider.
Yeah, good morning. Good evening. Mary Schneider, I live across the street. Okay, so I'm opposed to ordinance 2654. I think it's punitive and it doesn't specify where the tax revenues would be used, and so it means it could go anywhere. But I just wanted to remind council that I know in the past the city has stated that it costs the city more to have residential housing than what the residential housing produces in tax revenues. And so I just want to point out that I don't think the city has said no to any housing development that's been proposed before it for the last 2 decades, and we're having all of these homes built here. They all require a certain level of service. They're not generating the taxes to cover those services. And now, of course, the city needs money and is coming up with, this idea about reducing the credit on the, the municipal tax. So I think a lot of this was just really bad planning. I think we just need to say no to any more big housing developments. And what a huge mistake to approve that 1,200 unit housing at the coal site. I don't know what anybody's thinking, but you can't just impose all kinds of extra costs and then expect that the taxpayer is are going to bail you out.
Thank you for your time.
Very nice.
Anyone else? Mr. Fitkowski.
Good evening, Keith Filipkowski with Pulte Homes. Just a brief moment of your time to acknowledge that I've heard the concerns that were brought up this evening, some of which I've addressed already, others being made aware of, and I will look into them, including Mr. Baker, who stood up this evening and spoke. But really just wanted to thank Mr. Levis, the new city engineer. Obviously holds a very high level of standard, has made himself available to work through the pretty tremendous list that we had to wrap up from our efforts to get the plat approved. So I just want to say I appreciate the good work that we've been doing, and we're looking forward to working with you more in the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to come forward?
Glenn Schneider, 31757, excuse me, Walker Road. Next November, I think I'll be here 50 years already. So I've seen many come and go, and I want to thank you, first of all, the council, for doing what they can and supporting staff. And just reflecting, gee, it's hard to add to what everybody put here tonight. That argument that it sounds like we really need to take some time on this for this third reading. Without this, you can feel the emotion in the room already, representing a lot of people that aren't here tonight. That we want to help the city, but we can't do it by mortgaging our future away, by doing something that we have to pay for down the road. And that would be a lot of dissent from the voters and a lot of future levies could be going down, and we don't want to see that. I think that what we do need to do, of course, is to set up a plan like was said here before. And not that you haven't been dutiful, I get that. Even the mayor had mentioned let's pump the brakes here basically and put this to a referendum vote for November. So it gives us some time to think about this, to put it together, a concise plan that makes sense, it fits into our fiscal responsibility. That's all I have, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider. Anyone else wishing to come forward? Good evening, Mr. Zimmerman.
Good evening, Mr. Smith. William Zimmerman, beautiful Avon Lake. So we finished the Pledge of Allegiance with a sentence that says, justice for all. Citizens are not receiving justice for all. It's a farce. You want to make us pick between the lesser of two evils because you haven't managed the budget properly. As I've stated several times, Mr. Zuber, when he was the chairman of the Finance Committee, for years has stated that there were warnings. We were running out of money. He told the mayor, he told the finance director, he told the council. Everyone should have heeded warnings, but chose not to. Continue to move in the manner of which the city has operated. There hasn't been any cuts. Nothing's been taken off the table. There's no way of saving money in our city. We keep expanding farther and farther with our resources. And now we've come to the point where we can't catch up. There's nothing to do. You're giving us one choice or the other. That's not proper representation. That's fraud. So as long as I call him a fraud, I'll call you a fraud and everybody else up here. You don't do your job right. You don't look out for the citizens. You think you're in control of the money and you're not. You have no idea what's going on. It's pitiful. So, I was talking to citizens yesterday at Miller Road Park. I happened to look over at that wonderful rubble that we call ALERG. There were 5 bald eagles resting on the spot. So does that become an environmental issue now? Is it publicly or potentially restricted? Because bald eagles are still protected. So is this a habitat issue? Will this be a whole new problem in the development of ALERG's property? Has anybody even looked into that? You were there last night, I saw you. Did you see the eagles over on the rubble? Probably not. You might have, good, I'm glad you did. So now to me, this is another issue. Has nothing to do with 1219. Has nothing to do with the way we're supposed to go. This is an environmental issue now that these birds are supposed to be protected. Continual lack of transparency. Just goes on and on. I don't understand, as I say 100 times up here, how you all think you're doing your job. Because I don't think any of you are. So Mr. Phillips says he'll do one thing, he'll do this. but we'll sue. I've already told you that over and over. We've beaten you already. We'll continue to do so. I had a woman last night who was talking to me about, asked me my name. I said, William Zimmerman. She says, oh, you're the guy who sued the city. That frivolous lawsuit. I said, no, ma'am, it wasn't frivolous. We won in the Ohio Supreme Court 7-0. Because the people that were representing Avon Lake were lying. Because they weren't full of integrity. Because they didn't do their job. Because they didn't step up and say, this is when the meetings were. These are the minutes that we kept. None of those things have still been brought to us. And that you're not fulfilling the requirements of the Supreme Court. Just more junk. Ms. Crossy, I'm concerned because I don't understand the reason you're resigning if it's truly personal.
Please direct your comments.
I'll talk wherever I want.
No, the rules.
Yeah, now you're taking away my time and you're
I let you get
interrupting
away-
with my freedom of speech.
You know the rules.
I
You
do
gotta
know the
talk to
rules.
me.
I have freedom of speech. If I look around the room, I don't have to spend every second looking at you.
You know the rules.
I don't have to do every second. You're going to give me back 30 seconds that
No.
you just wasted? What a surprise. Are you going to extend my time by a minute? I'd like to have an additional minute to speak.
Not tonight, Mr.
Not
Zimmerman.
tonight. What a surprise. You're a fraud.
That's not a very nice thing to say, sir.
Freedom of speech. I'm allowed to do it.
Okay, anybody else want to come forward? Talk to us.
Yes, sir.
Come on
I've heard
forward.
enough. This country has developed into a, I'm sorry, I'm Len Lieber. I'm a resident of Avon Lake, Ohio. This country, and I'm old enough to see back to the 1940s and how people pulled together in crisis. And what I'm seeing here tonight is people pulling apart from each other in crisis. And this is one way that the community of Avon Lake will not be able to stand if people pull in opposite directions. I certainly agree that everyone up here has the right to speak their mind, to criticize, but in a manner that is productive, not destructive. And I have heard over and over at some of these meetings, people being accused of everything except dragging children into their homes and doing terrible things to them. Well, the reality is if there isn't enough tax money available to the city, as is the case with many, many other communities in this country and in Europe, where I have traveled a great deal, you will not have police officers available to you to help you comfortably sleep in your beds at night. The issue really is for everyone to sit down in a constructive, reasonable way without pointing fingers and accusing people of being frauds, crooks, everything under the sun. We are all humans, and the discussion of infrastructure needs to be more, shall we say, in the area of human infrastructure, and that is to build people up and not tear them down. If you continue to tear people down, you are also tearing down the faith in the community, and the people will have less trust, and that is what you're seeing now in the United States of America. This cannot go on like this. So please, if you have complaints with your city council, do it in a more decent kind of a way, and perhaps they will respond in kind. I just don't appreciate all of what is going on because it doesn't really help anyone in the long run. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to come forward? All right. Seeing none, I'm going to close the public input. Thank you all for your time and attention and coming forward and letting us know your concerns. Next on the agenda is the reports. We start with the mayor's report.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Appreciate the opportunity to provide some good news. Last Monday night, the fireworks went off to a great crowd. The weather cooperated, which was great. and it was a fantastic show. It's the largest show we've ever had. I think it was well received by everybody I spoke with. This past Saturday, we had the Randy Nyland's Bike Rodeo. We also had the largest group of people participate in that we've ever had, along with the Ducks and Donuts event, also held on Saturday. Both were huge successes. And then we also had a concert last night at Miller Road Park, which was very well received as well. And I want to thank, and I'm going to talk about some of the upcoming events as well, but I want to thank our Recreation Department, who really does a fantastic job of putting on all these events, and they do it in a very fiscally reasonable manner, because this is what binds our community together, is all these events and all the activity that we have upcoming. And speaking of upcoming, Thursday, we have the CLE Market, and the Kingfish will be playing at Veterans Park, so another opportunity for the community to get together. On Sunday, July 26th, there's another concert at Miller Road Park. I can't recall the name of the band for that one. But this Saturday, also, I want to note that we have Live Like Delaney Foundation is coordinating an event. It's called the Citywide Chalk the Walk event. This provides an opportunity for those to go out under their sidewalks, create some chalk art, send pictures of that, either by tagging or an email to the organization. And all this is on our website, so I won't go into too much detail. So from 9 to noon, you can create chalk art, send it to them. At 1:30, there'll be a party at Alps where they'll recognize the winners of that chalk art and provide some prizes, and there's an unveiling that will happen at that time as well. So again, more information on our website about Chalk the Walk. Great event for the Live Like Delaney Foundation. So I want to recognize that. The replacement at Tider Creek Culvert at Electric is proceeding well. It's on time. It's still tentatively set to open early to mid-September. Hopefully the weather will cooperate and that process will continue on. I won't comment on the legislation tonight until we get to it, other than to say everybody knows that, my personal opinion has been this should go to the voters. I understand council's perspective here. We all agree 100% that we need funding. And I sit and listen to people say, well, it's all due to poor planning in the past. Well, we have plans for the future, and we need tax money to fulfill those. So if we don't have the tax money to fulfill those, we're back to the same place we were, and everybody will complain that we didn't do anything. So we have a plan. We need to move forward. The longer it takes to get funding for this, the more expensive it's going to be. And unfortunately, the more suffering our residents will have to do on some of these roads. And I'll talk about the roads program when we get to that. So that's what I have tonight. Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Any questions for the mayor? All right, seeing none. Next on the agenda, I'm sorry. What? Oh, yeah.
I didn't have a question. I just had a comment that we didn't address the great event that the 4th of July Jubilee stuff was last week. And I just wanted to say it was really awesome and the fireworks are great. So thank you.
Okay. All right. Next is the council president report. Speaking of Mrs. Goodwin, on June 8th, we authorized her to abstain from voting on ordinance number 26-28, which is a donation to CRS due to a conflict of interest. So just wanted to remind council of that. And our council recess will begin tomorrow. We return on August 24th for a collective committee meeting at that time. Any questions for me? Okay. Okay. Next is the law director, Mr. Eber.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Next is the finance director. Oh, I'm sorry. Anyone have any questions for Mr. Eber? All right. Seeing none. Next is Mrs. Crossy.
Thank you, Council President. So I did want to just address a couple of the comments that were made just for the public's clarification. A comment was made that a credit reduction that's not specified what is happening with that credit reduction, when in fact it is going to a specific capital fund. It just as the previous additional income tax, it's also clarified that a minimum of 70% would go to the roads and a maximum of 30% would go towards stormwater needs, traffic signalization, vehicles and equipment. So I just wanted to be clear about that, and that is in the ordinance. And also, there was a comment made about the delay in collections of this income tax reduction, and that is correct, and that has also been stated over the past meetings, that we will see a delay in those collections until 2028, just because of the way that those funds will flow. However, there will be communications from the city via Regional Income Tax Agency about setting up estimates and to be expecting this decrease. And also a comment was made about how the state of the city, specifically capital, has not been addressed during the budget process. However, that is not the case. When I started late in 2024, we ended up finalizing the 2025 budget, and I was very clear, and council was clear, that in that year we had to drop the transfer from general fund to capital fund to $400,000, where in the past it had been closer to $2 million. And the same statement was made during the 2026 budget process, which is a public hearing. And so the public would have heard that as well, that we were unable to make any contribution to the capital fund. So we're looking at a possible third year of not being able to contribute to capital fund, and that's an issue for our roads and for our city. So something needs to be done. And also, just one last point I wanted to take up is just the communication regarding what is happening with these funds. A detailed road program was put forth during the issue 13 process, and it was presented many times at public sessions by the mayor, myself, and Mr. Rua. And the Public Works Director came out with a very clear plan. And so the mayor will be speaking to that. But we do have that plan in place. So, and that will be put forth again. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Mrs. Crossy? Yes, Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Thank you. It's not a question, it's simply a comment to bolster what you just said. So the infrastructure is through my committee, which is public service. And at every public service meeting, we have updates, not only on the budget, but on what the project is going to be, and also on the process of planning into the future. And we actually have a plan that is on our website, and you can look at it. And it goes out to 2036, I believe. And I'm seeing yes from my colleagues here. And it's been there. We put it out, I believe it was started in 2025, has been updated then in 2026. So any questions, please get a hold of your council people and we will email you those attachments. I know I've sent it out to a number of people and they had no idea of the extent that we went through in hiring the pavement management group to perform the duties that they needed to perform in order to evaluate every street in Avon Lake visually with cameras going along, and then also with core samples, and then entering that, and they use a little bit of AI, but they entered into the standards to compare them to the American Public Works Association standards, and also the industry standards with ODOT. There's been just a tremendous amount of work of planning when it comes to where we're going forward now with our streets. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Fenderbosh. Anyone else for Mrs. Crossy? All right, seeing none. On to the Public Works Director, who's not here, but I'll turn this over to our city engineer. Mr. Levis, you have any report for us this evening?
This is my 14th calendar day, and I'm enjoying it. So it's good. A good bunch of people helping out, working as a team. So I'm very happy. So.
Thank you. And I did receive your email regarding one of the items on tonight's agenda that Mr. Filipkowski discussed.
Yes.
That has cleared the hurdles that were put before us from Planning Commission?
Yes, it has.
All right.
pleased to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good cooperation with Pulte Homes and Fetchco Excavating.
All right.
Thank you.
Any questions for the engineer? All right. Next, we're on to the standing committees. Ms. Gentry, Building and Utilities.
Yeah, a couple of meetings ago, somebody, I think it was Ms. Fenderbosch, had asked about the communication towers in people's front yards that are falling over. I did speak to Spectrum, and they said that each individual should call Spectrum, and they will come out and reset those.
If I could, those are the boxes?
The boxes, the tower things, so. It's difficult, so he did say they're not all the same, and so they're not labeled. So you don't just call your personal one and they can come out.
Okay. Any questions for the Building and Utilities?
No meetings until after the recess.
Thank you. Next is Economic Development, Mr. Shamir.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. We had a meeting, I had a meeting with the administration, the mayor, Mr. Esborn, and Ms. Crossy on July 7th to discuss the economic development strategy and the framework that was forwarded. I think it was a good meeting. We spent about 2.5 hours to discuss questions with which the administration had about the document that I had forwarded them about 4 months prior. And we went through, answered those questions, and then I also followed up with written answers to those questions that were included. That document is this, which was forwarded. Now, during the discussions, we talked about a number of things, economic development and where things are. I guess one of the issues that popped up and took me by surprise is a discussion of a Cleveland Clinic facility that was supposed to be coming in to Avon Lake at Town Center. And, it was brought up at the discussion, and then I was also told that it went away because of a number of different issues. Yet, as the chair of the Economic Development Committee and someone who has a broad list of questions that they ask every month, I had no clue. Every time that I asked a question, Mr. Esborn goes through a list and does not mention. When I came out of that meeting later that evening, I spoke with fellow colleagues, to include Ms. Fenderbosch. She was fully aware of it, and yet, when I asked those questions at Economic Development Committee, neither Mr. Esborn or Ms. Fenderbosch or anyone else bring up the issue. So I have a problem when the committee chair is not given information. When we have dialogue, when we have conversation, I don't think anybody is here to waste their time. I would like to ask the question to Council President. Were you aware of this Cleveland Clinic potential and possibility in the city of Avon Lake?
I would say that I had heard about it after the fact, but I don't remember hearing about it before the fact.
So this is part of the chain of communication that is broken. If we are to have transparency, if we are to have cooperation, we can't cherry pick what we tell. We can't cherry pick because maybe I know someone at Cleveland Clinic. Maybe I know someone that knows someone at Cleveland Clinic that can approach. I sit on a board of Northeast Ohio Liver Alliance with many of folks that are within UH as well as Cleveland Clinic that have access. Yet, I find it interesting that when I ask questions on economic development, I have to hear about it third hand. So when it comes to economic development, I'll say this. We had a great conversation and great discussion. We agreed to move forward, but I hope it doesn't take 4 months now to get to the next step. And also, I hope that at least, whether it's me, the chair, for the next year and a half, or someone else that comes in, they're able to get information that is relevant to the job that they're supposed to oversee and cooperate in. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Shamir at this end? Yes, Mayor.
No question. I just want to respond to Mr. Schmear's comments. So first of all, we heard rumors before we knew anything, just like everybody else did, through the grapevine. I also want to note that in the Economic Development Committee meeting of April, that was addressed. It was actually mentioned. You were present, Mr. Shamir, for that meeting when the Cleveland Clinic conversation came up. And we said at that time that we have no relevant information because we didn't. And the negotiations between two private parties, where they're going to move in and how they're going to do that is not our purview. That is their private dealings, and what they do is what they do. I don't know what else to say about that. I don't think the Cleveland Clinic was going to come in and talk about that, or DeHoff management, until they had something to say. And it didn't work out. And that's unfortunate. I think it would have been a great addition, but it just didn't work out. So nobody's hiding any information. The rumors were out before we had any indication, and we had nothing to discuss because nothing was happening. So, thank you.
So,
yes, Mr. Shamir,
yeah.
go ahead.
So the discussion of Cleveland Clinic, whether it's the eye center, whether what it may be, and a $13 million revenue salary base are two different pieces. Having Cleveland Clinic and having Cleveland Clinic having a salary base of $13 million and Avon Lake, those are two things. Getting information doesn't mean mentioning it. It means delving into it. Thank you.
That's it. Okay. Anything else for economic development? Move on to Mrs. Goodwin for environmental.
The only update that I have is I will look into bald eagles at the lake for just to look into it. But also, I'll be addressing the Environmental Advisory Board during the special committee
Very
later.
good.
Thank you.
Any question for environmental? All right, next up is finance. There are several pieces of legislation, including the talked about tax that goes to the ballot, the 0.4% that we're going to return to the ballot in November, along with the tax credit reduction that we have put on this evening, as well as the fact that that tax credit reduction will be repealed should the 0.4% tax be approved by the voters. The reality of it is that we don't have money to fix our roads. And it's a stark reality that's been coming. And these are the legislation that we put on, that will be put on the ballot and put on our agenda this evening to try and remedy the situation, while the economic end of it continues to try and improve for the city. Anything else for the Finance Committee? All right. Next, we have Human Resources. Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. This evening, we have a few items to consider. We have the job descriptions for the fire chief and assistant fire chief, a memorandum of understanding with the International Association of Firefighters, and sadly, we have to consider the resignation of our finance director. That's all that I have.
Thank you. The memorandum of understanding is with anyone. Does anyone have any questions? I would bring Ms. Kernia forward if anyone had any questions on that memorandum of understanding or the law director to discuss it. All right, that memorandum of understanding, as I understand it, will be a motion. All right. Next up is public safety. Mr. Kaz.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. The Public Safety and Health Committee met on Wednesday, July the 1st here in council chambers. We had a full quorum. There were only 2 items for discussion on that agenda. The first one is an item that is on our agenda tonight, and that is ordinance number 26-64, and it'll be a 2-day liquor license permit for the event that used to be called the Beer Fest, and it's now been rebranded as Pour on the Shore. It's a 2-day event. The committee passed the approval for that 2-day liquor license permit by a 3-0 vote. I'll talk more about that when we get to that part in first readings. I'll be asking for suspension on that and emergency, and that so that way they can have their liquor license in place, because that event is at the end of this month in a few weeks. The other item that we talked about was we had a very robust discussion about e-bikes in this town. There were no votes taken or anything like that, but we got some great feedback from the police chief and the fire chief as well too, who talked to us about what's going on in the community. We heard a number of firsthand stories from council members and some stories that they've been relayed to by other residents in the community. We had other members of the community that came out and spoke. Ms. Rutan, who came up earlier and spoke, she was at that meeting, and she, again, at that meeting discussed consideration of a minimum age for operating an e-bike, and for the record, I support that. We will have more discussions on this, on e-bikes going forward, but there are some successes for a number of the complaints that we received. There are some successes. The e-bike helmet law seems to be taking effect, and we've noticed a real increase on the youth that are now required to wear helmets on e-bikes. Not all of them are doing it, but most of them are. We talked about the crackdown on the illegal e-motorcycles, the dirt bikes. The police department has been very adamant that when they see those, they don't let those kids or adults or whoever's riding it, if it's not street legal, they don't let them ride off with it. That thing is confiscated. So we heard some of those success stories like that. A number of the times when the police department does witness some of these issues with e-bikes, the parents are contacted, bikes are temporarily taken away, had to be picked up at the police station, and parents are notified of what the infractions are. And we have seen some progress on that. It's going to be a continuous battle on this, though. It's going to be education. The PSAs that we have been putting out do seem to be working. However, PSAs alone just aren't enough, and we have to continue to pump that information out there. We have to continue to educate the public. We need to use our SROs as we have been very effectively in the schools and make this a part of what they talk to the students about. We kind of know the age groups where we have the problems, and that fits right in where our SROs are. So they're going to continue to pump that information out. We're continuing to educate, and I think that we left that meeting knowing that we are making some progress on this, but we'll revisit this again probably in the fall and see where we are then. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kaz. Any questions for public safety? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to public service. Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Thank you. Our last meeting was July the 1st. Our next meeting is going to be September, do you believe it? September the 2nd at 5:30 p.m. in the chamber here. Tonight we have 6 items before us. Are going to be 3 motions, and I'll get into those in just a second, 2 resolutions, 1 ordinance, and the 1 ordinance is going to be asking for emergency passage and suspension of the rule, and it has to do with the topic we've been talking about for 2 years, and it has to do with Walker Road. There's another phase. It's the one that's from Jaycox through Lear, through the intersection. I think all of the people that are here have heard us talk about it many, many times. It's actually going to come to fruition. The play space is going to be on there to advertise. There's the safety center resurfacing, which I'll talk more about, and the funding of that when it gets to it. We're also going to, and there's a reporter in the area. I have a picture for her. Please pick it up afterward, of the fish, what are they calling it now? The photo display stand that we're going to be putting up. This has been donated. We'll be talking about those things. We're going to be talking about authorizing the mayor to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission, state capital improvement, and our local transportation improvement programs. It's called grants. So this is some of the way that we reduce our expenses is through grants. We're going to be talking about the city of Avon Lake Public Works Department's Sensible Salting Program. We've been talking about it for 5 weeks. This is now going to be the 6th week. That's what is before us tonight through public service. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If you could address the bid for the Walker Road paving. We're asking for a suspension of the rule. That was the contract that was reviewed by the engineer.
Right. I'm going to be talking about that, I think, at the time. And it's been interviewed. It was reviewed by the engineer with a recommendation. This is a really hard time of year to go out for bids for construction because these companies are all busy. And we had one bidder that was there. It did go over the estimate by 11%. It is within the Ohio Revised Code, though. They give us up to 20%. And in the past, we have we've walked away from bids that were over what the state allowed. When we get to that particular point, I will be talking more about it.
Well, I was just concerned about it because you are asking for suspension of the rule, and I just thought if there was any concerns about that they would be addressed at this time.
Okay, but we've been talking about the Walker Road project for 2 years.
That's true.
Yes. And we have, part of it is being paid for by the Ohio Department of Transportation through a grant.
All right. Any questions for the Chair of Public Service? Seeing none, we're on to the Planning Commission. Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. We have 2 items for consideration this evening. One was mentioned earlier, the Harbor Crest subdivision final plat. There was quite an extensive list of requirements that needed to get done, and it is my understanding that those have been completed on time. Mr. Levis, I don't know if you had any further comment on.
I think you said it quite well, so it's looking very good out there. The development, Harbor Crest.
The second item that we will be addressing is the text amendment. This is it will be the first reading, and there will be further readings down the line, including a public hearing on August 31st and the third reading for September 14th. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions for the Chair of Planning Commission? Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Thank you. Mr. Reynolds, I have a question about the project that is before us for the final plat. I know that you spoke about the punch list items that were going to be finished, but I'd like to hear if all of the financials were completed also, because that was part of the discussion.
It is my understanding that they have been. I didn't get any confirmation. Have you?
Ms. Crosby?
Yes, I signed off on those today.
Wonderful.
Yes.
That's good news. Thank you very much.
Anything else? Okay. Now we're on to Mayor Spetzel with a report from the Zoning Board.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. There were 4 cases in June. There was a fence height that was denied, 2 fence heights, and a setback were approved. The next meeting is July 22nd.
Any questions? All right, seeing none, we're on to Mrs. Goodwin with Parks and Recreation.
Our next meeting will be September 24th, I believe, downstairs in the conference room at 5:30 p.m. And then I did just want to ask one question of the mayor, just checking in on the Anchor MOU. I know that there's been movement, but I just wanted you to
Yeah,
confirm that.
we sent our draft to the group, and they're reviewing, I believe. I think Dr. Remy is here, but I think they're in the process of reviewing that.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. And then the last thing was the fee schedule. We're hoping to have that fee schedule before September was the last conversation that Aaron and I had to get that approved when we, hopefully soon after we return in the fall. And that is all I have.
Thank you, Mrs. Goodwin. Any questions for Recreation? Yes, Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Thank you. I know that with Learwood under construction, that we're losing some of our fields for sports for the summer. And I was wondering, Mr. Mayor, if the city is considering using Erie View to supplement those, because we have about 300 kids, I understand, signed up for soccer. What's the plan?
We are trying to find space for them, and one of the spaces we're looking at is the north side of Erie View.
It is.
We just need dimensions to make sure that it can be safely put in that spot, because now we have hills and, trees. So we got to make sure we can safely install one within that area. But we're willing to do so, obviously, if it fits.
Then one last question. If we are going to be using Erie View, which is on the south side of Lake Road, right? Are we going to be putting up maybe a snow fence across there to keep balls from going out into Lake Road?
Obviously, we'll have to look at the location of that before we determine
Thank you, sir.
that. But yes, thank you.
Any other questions for Parks and Recs? All right, thank you, Mrs. Goodwin. On to special committees. Mrs. Goodwin, do you have a special committee report?
EAB.
There you go.
We have for Environmental Advisory Board. Tonight on the agenda we have 3 appointments for to fill the vacancies, and we will be whole again, which is very exciting. So thank you.
Any questions? Yes, Mrs. Fenderbosh.
I have my own. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, this was quite a little quick there. All right. Any questions for EAB? All right, seeing none.
Okay.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Thank you. The Tree Commission is going to be meeting in August. They work right through. It's August the 12th at 6 p.m. at the old firehouse. And they're going to be exploring some wonderful options for the city that some other cities have utilized that will be focused on the urban forest and how to replant areas. Whatever they are working on is going to take a number of months, and the results will come into effect after they're done with, the city's done with the tree inventory. I will not be at that meeting. I wanted to share with you that I am part of a grant recipient from the Smithsonian. I will be at the NCAR, that's the National Center for Atmospheric Research, about air quality and ozone. So I will be in Boulder, Colorado at that point in time, which leads me to tell you about tomorrow. If you have students at your house that are age 8 to 12, sign up or just bring them over to the library from 11 o'clock a.m. to noon. High school science teacher Ashley Johnson and I will be teaching classes there about air quality and how ground ozone affects the respiratory system, the cardiovascular system, and we have real science. They'll be able to participate in real science with NASA and with the Smithsonian. The ozone garden right now is showing ground ozone stippling in the sensitive plants, and the air monitor is recording it. And if you go onto the Avon Lake Public Library's website, it was made live this past weekend. There is a tab under research that you can have live right now results of what ground ozone is and the history of it within Avon Lake. And I encourage your participation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Fenderbosh. Any questions for the Tree Commission? All right, any other special committee reports? Yes, Ms.
Beacon, did you want
Gentry?
to give us an update on the lakefront ad hoc? Oh,
This one.
That's part of special committees.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Thank you. I do have an update. Well, first, we're meeting again tomorrow night here in council chambers at 6 p.m. I do have one item that will be, I believe, was it sent to council for review? Yes, the RFQ framework for the economic and financial sensitivity analysis was sent to all of council for review, and because it's RFQ process and it's an administrative function, it will go back to the administration for their completion to be sent out, and then we will approve it at that time. So there wasn't a need for approval tonight in this meeting, but once that is completed, we will see it again before it is sent out. And then I also wanted to address one other thing that I'm new here, kind of. And so when I built the draft for the model for the ad hoc committee, I mistakenly did not include an administrative representation piece on there. That was out of not really knowing what I was doing, giving it my best shot. I was grateful for the mayor in attending our meeting last week to express that he wanted administrative representation on that committee, and we all wholeheartedly agreed that is absolutely the right move to make, and I apologize. It was not meant to be to leave anyone out. So I believe that we have agreed that either Mr. Esborn or yourself will kind of be the rotating representation on the ad hoc committee moving forward. So I just wanted to make that known. And one other thing, we do have applications open. They opened today for community members to be involved with that group. And we will be interviewing 2, and then 2 more will be handled by the mayor. We want to be made whole by August 24th. So we would like to have everyone approved and made part of that committee by then. So if you're interested in being part of that, please apply. Applications online. You'll send the information to Valerie. The deadline to apply is August 7th at 4:30 p.m. and we'll conduct interviews immediately following that. And I believe that is all I had.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Mrs. Goodwin? All right, any other special committee reports? Seeing none, we'll move on to the motion part of our agenda. Any deletions or additions to the motions? Seeing none, Mr. Shamir.
So I do hereby make a motion to recommend the appointment of Dr. Kenneth Remy to the Community Improvement Corporation. After reviewing the applicants and completing the interviews, the interview panel unanimously selected Dr. Remy. He brings extensive leadership experience in public service, medicine, research, innovation, and organizational management. He has led multidisciplinary teams, secured significant outside funding, and has experience in governance, fiscal stewardship, and community engagement. Dr. Remy has also been instrumental in organizing the Avon Lake Harlem Wizards event which has brought the community together and raised funds for local cause. I believe his experience, energy, and commitment to Avon Lake will make him a valuable addition to the CIC.
Thank you, Mr. Shamir. This is for a term that's effective July 14th of 2026 and expires on December 31st, 2027. I agree with Mr. Shamir's comments about Dr. Remy. Thank you. Any further comments, questions? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin?
Yes.
Mr. Cos?
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
yes.
Dr. Remy, thank you. Welcome to the CIC.
Can we have Dr. Remy
Sure,
say
if
a
you
few
would-
words?
If you'd like to come up.
didn't last time, but I will this time.
All right.
I know it's going to be a long meeting tonight, so I appreciate the time and effort. I am committed to working with the CIC as a separate entity to help try to grow some of the things that we've talked a little bit about tonight. I think there's unique opportunity for us to start to really build out an innovation district to the city. It's certainly where the world is going in many different areas. I'd love to leverage a lot of the collaborative partnerships I have. It was mentioned about the Cleveland Clinic and university hospitals. There's a whole host of other healthcare, biotech, and medical and different industries that certainly would benefit from some of the areas that we have here. That's a great way certainly for us to bring new dollars into the city as well. I look forward to working with folks here. I don't always think inside the box. Be ready, I will think lots aside out the box, but we're in a climate right now where we have to. And that's the only way you're going to get innovative to bring new dollars into a location like this. So I'm committed to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Remy, very much. All right, next is a motion by Mr. Reynolds.
I move to confirm the mayor's appointment of Patricia Tokarczyk to the Civil Service Commission effective July 14th, 2026, to fulfill a term expiring on December 31st, 2031.
Thank you. Discussion. Mr. Reynolds, would you defer to the mayor?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, thank you. Patricia or Pat Tukarsik is a 30-year veteran of HR. So she brings a role that is not currently being filled on the Civil Service Commission. So we're pretty excited to have her. She has experience on another committee in Avon Lake, so she's familiar with our organization. She's familiar with how we work, and I think she'll be a great addition to the Civil Service Commission.
Thank you, Mayor. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin.
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Yes.
Ms. Gentry.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Reynolds.
I move to accept the resignation of Finance Director Beth Crossy effective July 29th, 2026.
Discussion. Any discussion?
Nothing.
Well, other than the fact that I would want to vote no on this, I'm going to vote yes to achieve her wishes. So, thank you. Mr. Cox?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Council President. I didn't make any comments last week because I knew that we would have the opportunity tonight to discuss this again with regard to Beth's resignation. I just really want to thank you, Beth, for all you've done. You weren't here that long, but we worked you pretty hard. And we asked a lot of you, and you delivered. And thank you very much. I mean, you were fantastic, and I'm glad that you're going to be sticking around for a few more weeks. So your work isn't done yet. We're going to call you on a bunch more things, I'm sure. But you've always had time for a meeting. You always shot straight with us. You always told us, what the best path forward was, in your opinion. And you were just a tremendous guide, and you will be missed. Like I said, even though you weren't here very long, you will be greatly missed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cos. Anyone else? Yes, Mayor. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I sang Miss Crossy's virtues last time, and I'll just kind of synopsize it again. We hired her back in, I think it was December 24, right? And we had pretty high expectations for her, and I think she exceeded those and then some. She grasped everything very quickly, got on board. There was a lot of things that were in need of attention, and she immediately delved into those and really corrected them. She works great with her team. They love working for her, as do I. I would love to say we can't do this, but out of deference to her, we obviously have to. It's going to be hard to fill your shoes, and again, I appreciate it. And again, I'm proud to be able to call you a friend as well. And I'll stop there so I don't get too emotional. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ebert?
Yes, I would echo everything. It's a pleasure working with you, Beth. I'm going to miss you. It's been fun.
Anyone else? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin.
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir.
Unfortunately, yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh,
Yes.
Ms. Gentry.
Yes.
Thank you. That passed. Next is Mrs. Goodwin.
Appointing Philip Moore to the Environmental Advisory Board effective July 14th, 2026, and expiring December 31st, 2026.
Is that a motion?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I
Thank-
move to appoint,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. All right, there's a motion to appoint Philip Moore. Discussion, please.
Philip brings a really great energy to EAB. He also has environmental experience with like brownfield remediation. He's worked on projects local here, Cleveland area. And so he has a lot of knowledge, and he's going to be a wonderful addition to the group. So I'm really excited that he was willing to join.
Thank you. Any further comments? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin.
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh. Ms. Gentry.
Mrs. Goodwin, you're up again.
I move to appoint Mark Zoki to the Environmental Advisory Board effective July 14th, 2026 to fulfill a term expiring December 31st, 2027.
Thank you. Discussion.
And the same with Mark. He is very experienced in the industry side of environmental aspects. He works for a company in Elyria, which escapes me at the moment. But I think that he will be a great asset in developing our relationships with local industry further. He has a lot of knowledge in what kind of things the Environmental Advisory Board can ask and kind of how we can position ourselves to have a little bit more expectation of the industry in the community. So I'm excited for him to be on board as well.
Thank you. Any further comments? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin.
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Yes.
Ms. Gentry.
Yes.
That has passed. Mrs. Goodwin.
I move to appoint Jeremy Kendall to the Environmental Advisory Board effective July 14th, 2026 and expiring December 31st, 2028.
Discussion.
Same thing, Jeremy brings brownfield environmental remediation experience in the Cleveland area. He's worked with councils and city government before, and he's, again, a great asset. We're really excited that he's joining the board.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin.
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Yes.
Ms. Gentry.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh, you're up.
Thank you. I move for the advertising of bids for the landscape at the Avon Lake Play Space.
Discussion.
Thank you. The landscape architects have put together a plan, and it's time to go out and advertise for those bids so that the landscape can be about 98% put in this fall. Whatever won't be put in will be put in the spring to complete the project.
Any questions? Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin.
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Yes.
Ms. Gentry.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Thank you. I move to advertise for bids to resurface the parking lot at the safety center.
Discussion.
In discussion, this is going to be paid for, not from the general fund, but from a special fund that has been put together that when your friends come to visit you and they fall and they break their arm, their ankle, whatever, and they need to be transported, their insurance company is billed, and that money then goes into a fund that is at the safety center, and the monies will be coming out of that particular fund for this project.
Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin.
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh. Ms. Gentry.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Thank you. This is exciting. I move to accept the donation of a fishing photo display stand from Buckeye Welding and Hooks for Hunger, valued at around $3,000 to be installed near the fish cleaning station in Miller Road Park.
Discussion.
Thank you. Council has at our table, and this copy, if you want to come up, the media wants to come up and get it. We have an extra one here for you. This is a copy of one that is in Huron. Hold it up high so that the residents can see it. And when you capture your fish, you bring them in as an angler. You want to show everybody what you have. So you hang it up and you can measure it. And it's just a great thing. It's going to say Fish Avon Lake on it. And I want to thank the mayor and Mr. Moran and his team for putting this together. Thank you.
Any further
I think Mr.
discussion?
Mayor might have more information.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Councilwoman Fenderbush explained it very well. Ed Moran had sent me a picture of that you see that Councilwoman Fenderbush has, and I commented that would be a great addition to our Miller Road Park, and he agreed. And actually, I think he suggested, and I agreed, that would be a great thing to do. And then he took it from there. He got the money, he got the talent to put it together, and it's going to be a wonderful addition. So I want to thank Ed Moran, who is one of our former public works director or employees, supervisors, for putting this all together and spearheading that. Thank you.
If I could add to that?
Yes, go ahead,
thank you.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Mr. Moran has been instrumental in the Hooks for Hunger for a number of years. And they bring in thousands and thousands of dollars for CRS. And it's just such a wonderful program. And this is the type of employees we have working here with the city of Avon Lake. He did this after hours when he was working for us in public service, and he's still involved. And he lives here in Avon Lake. Thank you.
Yeah, he did a good job for the city, and this is a very helpful thing. So, please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin.
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes,
Mrs. Fenderbosh. Ms. Gentry.
Yes, thank you.
that motion has passed. Mr. Reynolds.
I move to authorize the mayor to execute a memorandum of understanding with the International Association of Firefighters.
Discussion.
Mr. Mayor, I don't know if you had.
I'd ask our HR director maybe to come up and comment on this, and then I'll add a couple words probably.
Yes, in recognizing the need for an acting assistant fire chief, the city administration worked with the fire union to come up with the MOU that you have in front of you, laying out the terms for the person who will be moving into the acting assistant fire chief role to help out acting chief Peter, who is doing two jobs and has been for several months now.
Mayor?
And I would just add that this is important so that Chief Peter can fill that position as quickly as possible. So we appreciate the work of the union and the administration in getting this done.
Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin.
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Yes.
Ms. Gentry.
Yes.
All right, that concludes the motion portion of our evening. Next is legislation. Is there any changes or corrections or additions or deletions to the legislation? Seeing none. If the clerk would read by title only, under third readings, ordinance number 26-46.
An ordinance providing for legal representation of the city of Avon Lake and specific officials of the city in actions filed by the state of Ohio, ex rel. William Zimmerman et al., case number 2024-1711, State of Ohio, ex rel. William Zimmerman et al., case number 24-CV214755, and Gerald W. Phillips A.L. et al., case number 25-PC00002, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. I move for passage of ordinance number 26-46 as set forth in the title. This is in order to pay legal representation that has occurred in regard to the case as mentioned. Any further comments or discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin.
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Yes.
Ms. Gentry.
Yes.
Ordinance 26-46 has passed. If the clerk would read by title only, ordinance 26-47, please.
An ordinance providing legal representation for the mayor of the city of Avon Lake in the matter of in-ray removal of Mark Spetzel, mayor of Avon Lake, Ohio, ex-rel. Gerald W. Phillips et al. Versus Mark Spetzel, mayor of Avon Lake, Lorraine County Court of Common Pleas, Probate Division, case number 25-PC00002, and the city of Avon Lake in imminent future litigation and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. I move for passage of ordinance 26-47 on the third reading. This is another ordinance relative to paying for the legal costs as a result of cases that have been filed against the city so that we can pay for outside legal counsel. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin.
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Yes.
Ms. Gentry.
Yes.
Thank you. That has passed. If the clerk could read by title only, ordinance 26-48 on the third reading, please.
An ordinance authorizing a donation to community resource services and declaring an emergency.
I move for passage of ordinance number 26-48. In discussion, this is a donation that we make to community resources, and I do believe that, as we indicated, Ms. Goodwin is not allowed to vote on it, but I think she did get a letter or something from the director. Did you want to read that or now, or?
Whenever you feel is appropriate, I
Well,
will
we'll do it after we pass, if the ordinance passes. Please call the roll.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes,
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Yes.
Ms. Gentry.
Yes.
thank you. That has passed 6-0. Ms. Goodwin, did you have a statement?
I do. This is from Ryan Virtue, the Director of CR, Community Resource Services for Avon Lake. He is unable to be here tonight as he's coaching his son's baseball game. Mayor Spetzel and members of council, on behalf of the staff and board of CRS, and most importantly, the clients we serve, thank you for your meaningful contribution of $25,000 to support our work and the residents of Avon Lake. Your generous investment strengthens our ability to provide critical assistance and resources to individuals and families in our community when they need it most. We are truly grateful for your continued partnership, trust, and commitment to the well-being of Avon Lake residents. We deeply appreciate all you do for our community. Thank you.
All right, thank you. If the clerk would read by title only, resolution number 26-49.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement and/or Local Transportation Improvement Programs, and to execute contracts as required, and declaring an emergency.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Thank you. I move for passage of resolution number 26-49.
Discussion.
Thank you. In discussion, the State Capital Improvement Program and the Local Transportation Improvement Program both provide financial assistance to political subdivisions for capital improvements to public infrastructure. The infrastructure improvement considered as a priority. If this should pass, the mayor would then be authorized to apply to OPWC, the Ohio Public Works Commission, for funds. We call them grants. This resolution is declared then to be an emergency measure, the emergency being the necessity of filing the application with OPWC by the deadline to receive a grant to provide improvements to the city's infrastructure and provide safe driving conditions on city roads, thus is for the health, safety, and welfare of the public.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin.
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes,
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Yes.
Ms. Gentry.
Yes.
thank you. That ordinance has passed. If the clerk would read by title only, resolution number 26-51.
A resolution in support of the City of Avon Lake Public Works Department Sensible Saltin Program.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Thank you. I move for passage of resolution number 26-51.
Discussion.
Thank you. The Public Works Department has developed a sensible salting program designed to improve environmental stewardship, reduce deterioration of public roadways, and better manage rising operational expenses associated with winter roadway maintenance. This program applies to all public roadways within the city, and the city encourages homeowner associations managing private streets to consider adopting the same. The Sensible Salting Program establishes an initial goal of reducing road salt usage by 20% during the 26-27 winter season while maintaining safe and passable roadways. The strategies, such as limited salting during overnight hours, targeted salting at intersections, hills, curves, and bridges, school zones, spot salting when practical, employee training, equipment calibration, and continued evaluation of alternative de-icing materials and methods. The council recognizes the environmental, operational, and financial benefits associated with this practice to reduce the damage to our roadway infrastructure, decrease salt runoff into waterways, lower material and overtime costs, and reduce damage to landscape adjacent to roadways. This resolution is declared to be an emergency measure, the emergency being the necessity of supporting a sensible salt program, thus is for the health, safety, and welfare of the public. This is something that's been adopted all across Cuyahoga County and in other areas. And the city of Avon Lake has put out onto our website recommendations to the public about safe driving tips for snow and ice conditions. And I'm just very, very pleased that we're moving forward with this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Mr. Liskovic's worked pretty hard on this program, and it makes a lot of sense. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin.
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Yes.
Ms. Gentry.
Yes.
Thank you. That ordinance has passed. If the clerk would read by title only, ordinance number 26-54.
An ordinance amending section 886.06 of the city's codified ordinances to reduce the allowable municipal income tax credit for tax to other municipalities from 1.5% to 0.5% beginning January 1st, 2027, and providing for the purpose of resulting additional revenues to the city and declaring an emergency.
I move the third reading of ordinance number 26-54. In discussion, this is the ordinance that reduces the credit that currently is in place from 1.5% to 0.5%. It is something that has been struck out of the reality that the city faces regarding the roadways. The ordinance calls for 70% of the money to be put into a specific fund for the replacement and repair of roads. The other 30% is for other infrastructure needs related to the roads as well as the drainage throughout the city. The money will be put into a specific fund for those purposes. And again, it's out of the reality that we face that this was presented and proposed. I would note that ordinance number 26-71 is also on the agenda tonight, that in the event this ordinance passes and we pass the income tax, we're going to be putting the income tax on a separate ordinance, the same one that basically went forth in May, that the 0.4% for both residents that work in and out of the city would be increased, that there will be an ordinance later, 26-71, that would say that we will repeal this credit reduction. I suspect that folks on council have much to say about this, so I'll open it up to further discussion. Mrs. Goodwin.
Thank you. I want to echo a few statements that were made tonight. And also, I want to combine it with some information that I have been communicating with residents publicly, but also privately. I've been contacted many times in support of a credit reduction. And to Mr. Lieber's point, the response is that this is a community that people are proud to live in. They want to live here for a reason. The credit reduction in its inception has done its job. It has brought residents to Avon Lake. We are nearly built out. And we have fulfilled people coming here. And we provide an exceptional level of service in this community to our residents. They are safe. They are responded to. I mean, I'm not really sure how else to say that. We have a situation in front of us, which is not the fault of anyone up here, that the can was kicked down the road for a very long time when it came to our infrastructure. Director Liskovic has said it many times. Many people up here have said it. This is the inflection point. This is where we are making a decision that that is not an acceptable leadership role anymore. It would be irresponsible of this council and the administration to walk out of this room without some sort of plan entering into budget season when we come back from recess. We have a plan for the roads. We have a very extensive road program that was presented at the time of the initial ballot issue back in May. And the mayor and Director Krause and Director Liskovic and Director Rua all did an exceptional job of pulling that information together and informing residents of doing that. I will also say that prior to Director Krause, and please correct me if I'm wrong, this was a part-time role, correct? The finance director? Oh, it was full-time? Okay, I'm sorry. Well, I know that you've come in and made things much better. And that's all I'm going to say so I don't cry. But I also need to point out that we need to be operating with the best people figuring out our budget. We have one, but we need to move forward with that same standard. And this road program is reinvesting back into our community. I understand that this hits people hard. Taxes hit my family exceptionally hard. We are a one-income household. But I will be able to drive around Avon Lake with my children and know that they're on safe roads. The police need to get to them. The fire department needs to get to them. These roads are safe. This is an equal investment. Residents into us and us into the residents. We owe it to each other completely. Mr. Shamir's point, of which I stated again last Monday, I fully and completely agree that we need planning. We need economic development. We need a strategy. We need all of those things. But both of those things can be true at the same exact time. We can still be developing with the administration, in which Mr. Shamir is doing now, with the administration, and they had a great meeting to move this forward. That still has to happen. And the expectation of that will not waver. It still must happen. And we need to work together to try and get this figured out for the future so that people don't end up in the same position we are in, having to prove to the residents that we deserve to have good roads. People come here for a reason. This is one of those reasons. I also think that you guys have done a great job navigating this. This is hard. Someone said tonight that it's easy for us to make a decision to change these rules behind people's backs. That is not it at all. These decisions are difficult, they are unpopular, but they are for the better of everyone. This does not just serve me directly. It does not serve anyone up here singularly. This is for everyone, for a very long time. And conversations I have had with many individuals, this is about equity. This is about everyone who's using our roads and our infrastructure being able to pay. Because as of right now, there's only 25% of residents in the city living here and working here. That's to expect 100% of our income tax, I'm sorry, not property tax, of our income tax budget to come from 25% of the working incomes, that's not sustainable. So along with an economic development plan, we already know that a sustainable tax base is part of that plan. And knowing that that is something that we can walk away with potentially when we walk out of here tonight will hopefully only make that economic plan stronger moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Goodwin. Mr. Cos.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Council President. So, as been stated, there's 4 different items, all kind of relating to the same thing tonight. So I'm going to try not to talk too much about the about the issue that we're going to be putting on the ballot for a public vote. I'm going to try not to talk about that in this, and it's kind of focus on this particular third reading. As Mrs. Goodwin said, and as we've set up here, a number of us, this is not easy. This is very difficult. This affects our households. I've said it a number of times, it affects all 3 people that live in my house would be affected by this. So this is not something that I take any type of joy or pleasure in doing. But as has been stated, there is a real need for infrastructure. And what infrastructure funding, a dedicated stream. And what is sort of frustrating is even tonight we've heard some of the public comments state that in the legislation, which we have, that there's no specific fund where this is supposed to go. And we don't know how it's going to be spent or where it's going to be spent when it's detailed in there. If this passes tonight, we know where the money would go into a specific fund and what it would be spent for. And while roads are the main part of this, we can't forget the 30%, which is the stormwater, the police vehicles, the equipment, the other capital things that are required to make this the community that we want to live in. So those items can't be forgotten either. But all of this money would be going to dedicated, spelled out items that it can only be used for. This is not a general fund, slush fund. That is not the case. It is having a specific fund set up where the money has to go for that. And we know as a part of the road program how much money we would need just to maintain the status quo. As has been stated by Mr. Liskovic and other members of council and the administration over the weeks of this and going back to issue 13, we know the dollar amount that is required to do that. And we had a document that up until last night, I think it's back on the city website now, that had the streets on it and what the grades of those streets were. So residents can look at that and they can see where the problem areas are and where the attention is going to go, not just in repairing the roads, but maintaining them as well too, so they don't fall into disrepair. So the information is out there. We're going to continue to pump this out there to the public. This is something that is not done lightly. And, in my hopes, in a perfect world, what I would like to see happen is that the ballot issue in November, which is the new issue 13, we don't know what the number is going to be, providing it passes tonight. We don't know what that number is going to be. That passes because that spreads the shared cost amongst all the workers, those that are in the city and out of the city. And everybody pays a little bit more for the shared use of the roads. So my hope is that passes, and I'll talk more about that when we get to it. And then the final vote that we're going to take tonight then is the repealing of what we are going to likely pass tonight with this tax credit reduction. That's where we are. There is a real need and there's a real responsibility in this chair. And I wish that I could just say, well, it's not popular, I'm going to vote no on it. I can't do that and then risk the infrastructure continuing to fall and fail. Just like with our own personal cars and vehicles and our homes, the longer you put off repairs, the more expensive they get. And we're at that point where the formula that has served this city for a long time of one of the lowest income tax rates in the region, 1.5, and 100% credit, no longer is functionable. We've survived for a long time with that, and we've done very well. But that formula needs to change, and there is a need for additional revenue. And I do want to make one other point, a little sidebar on this. One of the things that I hear when people, when you talk to them about needing additional revenue is, I see this all the time. Well, if you damn city council would stop giving tax abatements to every developer that comes in. I asked Mrs. Rossmarin to pull every tax abatement that the city of Avon Lake passed from 2008 to 2022. There were 14 tax abatements. 2 of them never materialized and didn't happen, so that's down to 12. And of those 12, only 2 of them were for residential, and that was for aquamarine. And that was a part of the original agreement 25 years ago when Bucky Koff took that blighted community and developed it into one of the more better areas to live in the city. So all of these tax abatements that we get accused of giving to developers doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist. The ones that we have done have all been for businesses, and almost all of them have been tied to job creation. And almost all of them had sunsets on it as well, too. So I want to put that rumor to bed. This is not an easy thing, and like I said, my preference is that the city can come together, the council can come together, and we can work to continue to educate the public and bring them along with the ballot issue in November. All the fighting back and forth, all of the finger pointing, all of the arguing, it doesn't move us forward. And everybody, I think, agrees that there is some need for infrastructure funding, and it's going to be a matter of educating and talking with people almost one-on-one. But I think we can get there. This community is only as good as our infrastructure and our safety vehicles and forces and all of that are going to be allowed. And if we can provide for those vehicles, if we can provide for the infrastructure, for the stormwater, for the catch basins, for all of the equipment that make this such a livable city, I think that it benefits all of us. So I will be voting yes in favor of this with the caveats that I explained before, that hopefully we never have to use this and that the alternative is approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cos. Mr. Shamir.
Okay. I have to say, everything that everyone said with respect to a requirement for infrastructure, roads, I agree. We need funds to address the roads and our infrastructure. That is not the question that I've got. And it's not been the question that I've asked either. And to be fundamentally raw, I look at this as, and I'm going to start with this, as putting 2 options. And I saw those options on Friday after I spoke with Mr. Koss, of an ordinance for the tax credit reduction or the 0.4% tax. And if we get the 0.4% approved at the ballot, the 1% tax reduction goes away. Okay. That is effectively the concept of a carrot and a stick. But to be honest with you, I don't see a stick or a carrot. I see a stick and a stick. Yet, when I look at everything in there, there is nothing that holds the administration accountable for job growth, for economic development, or for anything else that is going to be done. You know, we can hold the residents accountable. We can tell them, you either tax or you approve the 0.4% tax in November. Alternatively, the 75% of the residents or the 70% of the residents will be getting their tax reduction removed. So I don't see the logic of holding administration accountable for management, for planning, and for implementation. And I've been very clear since day one. Okay? So I do support that we need infrastructure and we need maintenance. Yet, we sat here in this room a month and a half, 2 months ago, and we discussed Chapter 1219, where everybody here said that our consultants told us and the administration talked about how this 1219 is going to be the best thing for economy and economic growth and taxes. Mrs. Crossy talked about this is validated. They've presented the numbers. We will create jobs, $100,000 jobs plus, that will cover taxes. Yet, 2 weeks ago, when I mentioned economic development, the comment that was made by the mayor, do you recognize how much money we need to bring in income tax revenue to have $6 million a year? That we would require roughly about $440 million in a salary base, okay? So there is inconsistency in the messaging. We, as people who have been elected, also need to hold the administration accountable. Can you generate enough revenue with 1219? How can you generate it a month and a half ago and then you turn around and say, I can't do $6 million today? And I agree. The reason I brought it up back during 1219 was it didn't make sense. Yet, accountability is important, and that's part of our job. So, in order to move and remove my emotions out of this, I have written it down, and I'm going to read. So, I do support fixing our roads and addressing the city's infrastructure needs, but I cannot support Ordinance 2654. This ordinance would reduce the income tax credit from 1.5 to 0.5 by a vote of council. That is a major tax increase for many residents who work outside Avon Lake, and I believe residents should have a direct say. Before asking residents to pay more, the administration should explain how we reached this point, identify the projects and their costs. I know that there is broad spectrum road projects and maintenance. And I do commend Mr. Liskovic on what he put together. But Mr. Liskovic and I had a very detailed conversation on a road plan implementation program. And that's not there. And I understand he needs that capacity. So before asking, I said that in administration, identifying the projects are critical, their costs, okay? We need to show what other fundings has also been pursued and make clear that spending changes will be made. We will also need a serious economic development and job growth strategy that strengthens the tax base instead of continuing to place more burden on current residents. Okay? We discussed the 1219, and I'm going to talk about and touch base on what I mean on 1219. When you remove the tax credit, what is the message that we're going to say that the 1219 residential development, potentially 1,200 units or little over 2,400 residents that will be moving into the community, okay? So let's reflect on who will buy those 1,200 units. Is it going to be the 35-year-old engineer, physician that is coming out of school with tax? No, with loans. You know, an average $200,000 student loan payment over 10 years is $2,500 a month. Okay? That is the tax base that you want to attract. What you're doing, and I think this is a knee-jerk reaction, is you will turn around and attract more retiring residents or those that are near retirement to those units. So when it comes to economic growth, when it comes to economic development, I think we're then shooting ourselves in the foot. And that is the reason that since 1968, when this was discussed, repealed, removed, and thought over by councils before us, they came to the same conclusion. We are not built out if we're going to increase 10% of our population yet at the power plant redevelopment area. So what is the fundamental thing? I said the administration needs to be held accountable for its planning, priorities, and financial decisions. For those reasons, I will be voting no on Ordinance 2654. And within this context, I move pursuant to Section 9A of Avon Lake City Charter to refer Ordinance number 2654 to the electors of the City of Avon Lake for approval or rejection at the November 3rd, 2026 general election.
All right, there's a motion on the floor. Any further discussion on that motion? Yes, Mr. Cos?
Yeah, I'll be voting no on the motion, and that is not because the public doesn't have a vote. They will have a vote in November. The charter gives us the right to pass this, or ordinance to pass this with just a council vote. We're going to be explaining the needs of this. I think we've done a good job of explaining the needs of this. And this is an opportunity that the council has to secure the funding with the alternative that we will be having a vote in November on the preferred method of funding and revenue. Thank you.
Mr. Reynolds?
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I'll keep my comments brief. I think that there's definitely a case to be made for this ordinance. I think it's been made pretty well this evening by Mrs. Goodwin and Mr. Koss, but I do agree with Mr. Shamir that something of this magnitude should be voted on by the people. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Thank you. I have two separate discussions, but since we are discussing the motion on the floor that Mr. Shamir put forward, I want to give a little history. I was kind of waiting for Mr. Cos to do this because he's the one that asked Mrs. Rossman for the history of how we even got an income tax and how we even got a credit. And it goes all the way back to 1968. And she gave us the entire history. And every time that there was a credit, the credit discussion is a discussion that's done in-house as we follow the Ohio Revised Code. In weeks past, I have stated that we are not a democracy. We are a representative form of government. And as a representative form of government, there are topics that we are told is our task. Part of it is the budget that is set. We don't put the budget out to the public and say, well, what do you think on the budget? The transfers that we do financially, we don't send that out to the public. Hey, what do you think about the transfers for an election? We are the ones that decide that. We are the ones that decide the appropriations. But according to our revised code, and it has been the history of Avon Lake, that when the tax income rate goes up or down, when it goes up or down, it goes before the public. At one point, some of us will remember that they were going to take 25% of our income tax, and they're going to use it for the paying of the trash, and that all failed. That didn't even go through. I am not going to be able to support this, Mr. Shamir, because I do believe that this rate issue is an equitable issue. When you have 25% of the individuals supporting what's going on in our city as far as infrastructure, there needs to be some equitability. Do I like it? No, I don't like it. I don't think any of us like it. It's not an easy thing to say. And that's why there's another option out there. And the other option has to do with the income tax that is going to be coming up later, which I'm going to be talking about. And I will be able to support something that was stated, Mr. Shamir, in your discussion about where you came to your conclusion, was that the city did not have a pavement program. We have in writing a pavement program over what year, what is going to be occurring, and how much it's going to be costing. Mr. Liskovic has put this together. It came out of my committee, the Public Service Committee. It came to all of council. We have that. We have the maps that indicate which streets would be reconstructed and which streets need to be just repaired versus built from scratch. So there is a plan, and that's called accountability, and that's what the administration is doing with accountability. When it comes to planning for sustainability, there's different types of sustainability, which some of us have been talking about. There's environmental sustainability, right? But there's also financial sustainability. And the financial structure that this city has lived with for many, many years. Remember, we came to be in 1950s, right? All of that has to change. You can't live with the same financial structure that occurred back then. And that's why we are looking for a dedicated revenue source for infrastructure. Now, where else do we have a dedicated source? I mentioned earlier today that from our insurance, that when your friend comes out of city and they break their arm, they have to go to the hospital, and the paramedics are called, EMS is called, the fire department is called. That is a dedicated revenue source that goes back to that particular department. This is another dedicated source. I don't think anybody disagrees with that. I think what they disagree with, and where we have to come together, I think what Mr. Lieber said earlier, is how do we get there? So to have a dedicated revenue source, there's two ways to go. One is to have this rate reduction. The other way is later tonight to have an item go on to the ballot in November. So, sir, I will not be supporting the motion that's before us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Fenderbush. Ms. Gentry?
Hi, so I wanted to address a couple of things. One, oh, can you leave yours on? Yeah. Yeah, you're good. I just got a note. My mic is popping.
Do you want mine on?
I don't know.
We have both of them.
Okay. So I heard tonight many of the residents were surprised that we had this on the agenda, and it concerns me greatly. It's been one of my concerns since I've been on council is the communication, and I don't know how to do it better, because I've had ward meetings and literally 5 people show up. I continue to have them. Mr. Phillips and Mr. Zimmerman continually come to those meetings. And it's I think because people are so busy living their lives that there aren't very many people other than maybe retirees that take the time to come to the meetings. And so we need your help understanding how to communicate better, because we're not getting through. Even with, the mayor came to one of those ward meetings. They've had meetings. So I'm trying to understand how to communicate these changes better. I know this is off of the topic of the motion, but I thought that was important. I know that I've heard also from people saying that the city employees should take a 10% cut. Well, now you're asking the 25% of the residents to not only support all of the roads, but also do it with a 10% reduction rather than a 1% reduction for those of us living outside of the city, and that I cannot support. It is a very, very difficult decision, and I did come in here with a different plan in mind, but in light of Mr. Shamir's comments, I would like to understand what holding the administration accountable means to you, because I'm not sure that I understand that. I don't think we have the time in our infrastructure left to postpone doing this change. I don't think we have enough time for economic development to take the place of this change. So I am very torn, but in light of the conversations I've had with many people, I do feel like this should go on the ballot, and I would support the motion.
Mrs. Goodwin. Mrs. Goodwin.
If we put it, I'm sorry, I was thinking for a second. If we were to put it on the ballot, could we have a provision that there needs to be a completed economic development plan? And I would support that, not just for the credit reduction, but for the income taxes ordinance as well. I mean, I feel that it's moving, and at this point, like, I don't know, like, what kind of weird, like, standoff we're in right now, but, like, I just, like, this is just becoming so unbelievably unproductive and frustrating on so many different levels, and we have to move forward in some sort of more productive manner than we are right now. Ms. Gentry brought up the communication. Feel the same way. I mean, I don't really know how else to put myself out there in particular to help educate. I know Mr. Shamir and I have done so over the last 5 days, and but again, the number one piece of information that has come back is residents want to see this economic plan. And again, Mayor, I do not hold you solely responsible for this. I think that this could be a very cohesive, collaborative project that we still have. What's today? July, August, September, October. I mean, we have 3 months that we could all put our, we could all put some serious work in to get this done with. But I think at this point we just need to rip the Band-Aid off, and it just needs to be done.
Ladies first.
No, Mr. Shamir.
I agree with what Ms. Goodwin said. Having a roadmap makes it a lot easier to swallow the pill. I typically will go in a day without charging my phone. Over the past 4 days, I've literally have been on my phone from roughly about 8 o'clock in the morning until 9 o'clock at night, probably charging my phone multiple times or being on a charger, talking to people that actually make sense. And the question solely is, how is it that I have to pay the price and this is not something that happened yesterday or 2 years ago. This has been endemic of our city. So it is not to the mayor, it is where we are, but If we don't have a plan, then we can't tell the residents, the taxpayers, our bosses. I mean, at the end of the day, that's who pays for everything. We can't tell them that, oh, by the way, we're doing these things to alleviate the pain. And this is how the pain will be removed. And holding accountability is not pointing finger. And as Ms. Goodwin said, we can all roll up our sleeves and work through this thing. I've put it out, and I will put it out again. I'm willing to take a couple hours a day to sit down and work through it. And I think everyone else here is willing to commit to that. But there needs to be also a desire by the administration. And I truly mean it. I don't see it. Maybe it's me. And I've been told by people on council that I am too hard and administration does not want to deal with me. So if you don't want to deal with me, deal with someone else. Get over the hump. Because at the end of the day, this is the job that we all elected to be in. Nobody was forced into it. I chose to be here. I chose to swallow this pill every Monday night and every other day. It's not that I'm doing anything extraordinary, but we have to be able to answer the question, and the answer is the pavements, that is one aspect of it. But the cost and the maintenance and the profile of maintenance versus cost is not there. And I've had that conversation with Mr. Liskovic now for over a year. That is something that needs to be understood. If I maintain it, what is my cost profile on repairs and replacement? This is not something that he can do alone, but we need to support him. So that is part of that accountability. And, and this is where I'm going to stop. I'm going to say one more thing and then I'll stop on this. If we're saying that 1,200 residential units are going to go in, what is the implication of this ordinance on who will move into those units? Are they going to be 55-plus-year-olds or 35-plus-year-olds? Who's going to come in? Because if I am a professional that comes out of college with $200,000 in debt, I'm not going to afford it. I can't afford to move in there because I've got $2,500 a month in payments just for the education that I receive. And that's the bottom line. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a couple comments. First of all, we're elected to do this job. And this job is not easy, as the people out there see every day, every Monday night when we're here doing this job. And there has been a lot of finger pointing. But what I'm going to say is let us go back to the reality. The reality is that our streets are falling apart. The reality is we do not have the money to fix those streets. We have to come up with a solution so this city doesn't disintegrate while we sit and argue various points and point fingers. The administration has an obligation to see to it that when we provide them the money that is necessary to do the job, that the streets get built. Mm-hmm. We have a map, if the clerk could pull that map up for me, that shows the number of streets that are in desperate need of repair. If you could zoom in a little bit. Yeah. You could see the red streets, Delwood, Inwood, Curtis, Belmar, Rosewood, I think that's called there, in between Beechwood and Parkwood, and Moorview, Avondale, which nobody travels on. Then you have the streets in Westwinds. In Mr. Shamir's own ward that need help. It is a reality that is approximately $6 million a year to fix. And the fact of the matter is that when it comes to a petition from council, you need 2/3 of the members of council to vote for it. A motion will not put this on the ballot. Next, we have the fact that, excuse me, Mr. Phillips, I'm talking right now. I don't, listen, I do not interrupt you while you're talking, please. All right? I know you might not like what I'm saying, just like I know a lot of people in the city of Avon Lake don't like what I'm saying right now. But the fact is that our streets are in desperate need of repair. And right now, there are two ways to fix them. One is a 0.4% income tax increase. The other is to do the credit reduction. And the credit reduction is something that the legislature for the state of Ohio has allowed councils to do. And everybody up here, including me, will feel the pain if in fact that credit reduction goes into place. Mrs. Goodwin has fought hard on Facebook and other social platforms relative to this matter. And the fact of the matter is the state legislature gives us that power. Why has the state legislature given us that power? Because there are times when it is needed to be used. There are times when it is needed to be used. And I got elected, I got appointed, I got elected to this job, and I am not going to let the city of Avon Lake infrastructure crumble while I sit here. And when it comes to the reality of this, we need the money. There's two ways right now for us to be able to get it. And believe me, I don't want to see the continuing going back and forth. I would love for Mr. Shamir and the mayor to get together to resolve the differences that they have. I would love to see us all sing Kumbaya. Right now, that's not happening. But I do know that the streets need to get fixed. I cannot support sending this to the ballot when there's a legal precedent for the city to do that. Our charter provides for us to be able to do the reduction. State law provides for us to do it. And that's what I have to say. If there's anything further on the motion, yes, Mr. Mayor. Oh, I'm sorry. Miss Gentry?
Yeah, I forgot on my scribbles to bring up one of the issues that is before the legislature down south, House Bill 503. If that should pass, it's now in the Senate, it's passed out of the House. It will retroactively nullify any reductions or repeals made by a city on or after August 1st of 2025.
The only way that could happen is if the state legislature specifically puts language in the ordinance that allows for it to be retroactive. And I don't know that they've done that at this point. I can only see it being perspective. Sorry about that.
That's fine. I'm just making you aware.
And there's no vote.
Yeah, we all know that the state's been looking at this issue. Mr. Koss?
Yeah, I got one more thing on this. I echo your comments, Mr. Council President. Thank you very much. We got one shot at this. As I said, we have either we're going to reduce the credit, which I think is least preferred, or we're going to ask for a credit tax increase on the ballot for a vote, which lost 57% to 43%. So we know there are headwinds, tremendous headwinds, just to get us to 50% plus one. So there's a good chance that that doesn't pass in November, the 0.4, bringing that back out. So I ask my colleagues this, when we come back from break, if this motion were to pass, When we come back from break, we'll be starting our budget process in September. There better be a plan B. There better be a good plan B if both of these fail. And just putting out a plan or showing that we're working together isn't going to get it done. We need to have funding approved either through a vote of council or through a vote of the community. The vote of the community is going to be very tough, but I think it can be done. But the backup on that is the income tax reduction, which we would repeal if the other one passed. Nobody wants to do this, but doing nothing right now is something that is very real, that they will both fail. Both of them will fail at the ballot. That is a very real possibility. And maybe some people in the community want them both to fail. I don't know why they would, but some people will. And voting for streets isn't like voting for the schools, which is a tough vote to approve anyway, or even the swimming pool some years ago. Streets are something that are neighborhood issues for the most part. People look outside their street. If it looks pretty good, they're going to vote no. I probably would if I didn't know any better. If their street's in bad condition, they'll probably vote yes. There's not enough people that live on those streets to get us to 50%. So some of these streets that are in good shape probably are going to vote no, especially if there's two confusing issues on the ballot. So I just say this, have a plan B, and I look forward to hearing what that is when we come back for the budget process, how we are going to fund the streets if they both fail, how we are going to fund the sewers, the catch basins, provide for police vehicles, fire vehicles, capital equipment, bridges, culverts, and all of that. So we are put into this position to make very tough decisions, and this is right up there at the very top. But we are in a real tough spot, and if the worst case scenario happens, which is highly likely, boy, we better have a heck of a plan on what we're going to do next. And boy, it better be good. Thank you.
Anything further? Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, thank you. As I sit and listen to all this conversation, I think there's been an effort to effectively distract from the real issue. And some of you have nailed that issue, which is we have an infrastructure funding problem. And no amount of plan is going to fix that today. We are working with Mr. Shamir, Ted and I, which is ironic. We're talking about not doing anything until we have a plan, and we're actively working on that same plan. And the plan is not just one person's plan. It's going to be a collective plan, so it takes a little time. This is not something that's going to be solved overnight. I would also say that we're not going to economic develop our way out of this hole that we're in. We've given the numbers. I know Mr. Shamir has commented on that, but $440 million in payroll or net profit is not going to happen. We don't have the land. We don't have the space. It's just not going to happen. That does not mean that none of that is important. It is all important. It's all part of the puzzle. The economic development plan is part of the puzzle. Having a more solid base is part of the puzzle. But $6 million is not going to come from that today. If we don't do something today, and I'm saying whether it goes to the vote or whatever, I'm talking about just passing something and not confusing the issue with other topics, we're doomed. I mean, if we can't figure out as simple as this and take a reasonable vote on something, then I'm not sure where we go. And I go with Mr. Kaz if nothing goes on the ballot or competing things go on the ballot, they're going to fail. We'll be looking at May of next year to try to do something. We've lost a whole nother year of infrastructure money. We've lost a whole year of repairing roads. I sit and listen to people complain about the condition of roads and nothing was ever done. And so here we sit trying to do something and we're getting pushback from doing the very thing everybody wants us to do. I'm a little confused. We know what the problem is. We've identified the solution to the problem, a couple solutions to the problem, yet we sit and argue about things that are somewhat irrelevant to the bottom line. And economic strategy is important. I agree. It's not going to solve the problem today. In fact, it's probably not going to solve the problem for a year or two. But we got to do it. The problem today is we don't have enough money to repair our roads. We don't have enough problem to maintain our roads. Councilman Shamir talked about, maintenance. I'm with him 100%. I don't understand what he's talking about, the cost, whatever, of repairs. We have a plan, very detailed plan, down to the dollar, on what we are going to do with roads. We couldn't be any more specific other than saying, this road's gonna be done, then that's gonna be done. We cannot come up with a priority list of roads until we have money, and then we take time to do engineering, we do borings, we do all the analysis of that road. Our list of roads that need to be fixed is extensive. So until we evaluate all those at a point in time when we have funding, we can't have a list. We can't say it's gonna be done at this time. What we do know is we're gonna have money to be able to start to attack that problem. If we sit here and argue about things that are irrelevant to this topic of getting infrastructure money, we're not gonna make any progress at all. And it'd be a shame to see that happen, because it's gonna be the community who we are trying to serve that is gonna suffer through that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I agree. An economic development strategy and a plan will not fix the issue tomorrow. But the discussion has been had for over 2 years of an economic development strategy. Neither here or there, but it wasn't addressed there. And if it's not addressed, we will be in the same place. And I will refer to what Council President said. We will give them the money. They will have the responsibility for fixing the roads. That is the problem. Responsibility for fixing the roads without a strategy to get us out of it in the long term is the problem. They should have a responsibility not only to fix the road, but to also put in the economic development framework and a plan that will not see us here again in 10 years. So it is not just giving them the money and they fixing the roads. It's giving them the money and having the commitment on everything that is required to get them into a plan over the period. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Mayor.
I can't fix all the sins of the past. All we can do is realize where we are, deal with where we are, and move forward. And, I just take great offense that our administration has been tactic continually, and somehow we are to blame for all the problems that we're facing today. And, I'm a big boy, I can take it, but it's also disingenuous because it's not accurate nor is it fair. And so I think we need as a council to come together. We are accountable. We have a plan for the roads. I don't know how else to say it. We have very detailed plans when the money arrives on how we're gonna do it. Not sure what else I could say. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, take a deep breath. There's a motion to put ordinance 2654 on the ballot. Please call the roll.
No.
Mr. Koss.
No.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
No.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
No.
Ms. Gentry.
Yes.
The motion fails 3-4. All right. Now we'll call the roll on ordinance number 26-54.
Mrs. Goodwin.
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
No.
Mr. Shamir.
No.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Yes.
Ms. Gentry.
Yes.
That motion passes 5-2, or that ordinance passes 5-2. All right, we're on to second readings now. If the clerk would read by title only, ordinance number 26-44R.
An ordinance adopting a job description for the position of Assistant Fire Chief, establishing the qualifications and duties for said position, and repealing ordinance number 22-141.
Mr. Reynolds,
I move for suspension of the rule requiring 3 readings.
please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin.
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh? Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
I move for passage of ordinance number 26-44R.
Discussion.
This is the job description for the assistant fire chief. Both the administration and the fire department were able to come together and agree on this job description. We need, this will allow them to fill this position.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Just one thing.
Yes.
I just want to note that we did remove the salary ranges from this, and that will be brought to council at a separate time after we finish all the comparisons and have that information available.
Thank you. Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, would that be prior to the September budget meeting?
Oh, yes, we're going to try to get that done, yes.
So will we get back on August the 24th?
I hate to commit to everything because we're still getting information, slow coming from cities, but, and I know Chief Peter also has some input in that, so we're going to do it as soon as we can, no doubt.
Okay.
I just want to make sure I don't overpromise here and underdeliver.
The only reason I'm mentioning, sir, is that usually operation comes first, and then in budget, and then capital.
Correct.
So I'm looking at the timetable. I just want to make sure that we have everything that we need
Sure.
for the September meetings. Thank you,
No,
sir.
I understand. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin?
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Ordinance 26-44R has passed. Mr. Reynolds. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I go first.
Ordinance number 26 would the clerk please read by title only? 26-45R.
An ordinance adopting a job description for the position of fire chief, establishing the qualifications and duties for said position, and repealing ordinance number 21-82.
Now, Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you. I move for suspension of the rule requiring 3 readings.
Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin?
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
I move for passage of ordinance number 26-45R.
Discussion.
As the previous ordinance, this is the agreed-upon job description for the fire chief. Passing this will allow them to move forward in filling this position.
And the wages were removed from that as well.
Correct.
Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin?
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Thank you. That ordinance has passed. If the clerk would read by title only, ordinance number 26-53.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a personal services agreement with Zupka and Associates and declaring an emergency.
I move for the suspension of council rules requiring 3 readings. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin?
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
I move for passage of ordinance number 26-53. This is the ordinance that is a personal services agreement with Zupka and Associates for the audit that we're going to be having. Anything further? Yeah, Mrs. Crossy?
Yes, thank you, Council President. So this is actually for preparation of the annual accounting financial statements, the GAAP statements.
Thank you. Yes, Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Thank you. So there have been some comments that have been made to some of us and also on social media about trust. And we're up here because we, as Mr. Shamir said, we signed up for this and we want to communicate transparently and we want to be able to help individuals understand our financials. And it was recommended by some individuals in the community that we have a third party analyze our finances. And this is the third party. We went out, this is them. And when they're not doing it, it's the auditor of the state of Ohio. And so they are being audited. All of these financials are available online. And you can always make an appointment with the finance director and she or he can go through them with you. I just wanted to make sure everybody understood in the audience and watching us tonight what this is all about. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Koss,
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds,
Yes.
Mr. Shamir.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Yes.
Ms. Gentry.
Yes.
Thank you. That ordinance has passed. On to first readings. If the clerk would read by title only, ordinance number 26-62.
An ordinance repealing ordinance number 103, 2012, ordinance number 191, 2017, and ordinance number 21-141, which established, reauthorized, and amended the city's job growth incentive program and declared an emergency.
Mr. Shamir.
I move forward ordinance 2662 to replace the city's current formula-based job growth incentive program with a more controlled and accountable approach. Instead of automatically paying incentives.
Excuse me, it's all right. Are you going to suspend the rules?
Yes, I am going to suspend the rules. I do apologize.
Please make that motion.
I move to suspend the rule and the passage of ordinance 2662.
Okay.
Suspend the rule.
Yeah. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin.
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Yes.
Ms. Gentry.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir.
Okay, I move forward ordinance 2662 to replace the city's current formula-based job growth incentive program with a more controlled and accountable approach. Instead of automatically paying incentives under the old formula, the money would be placed into an Economic Development Fund 226. It could then be used only for economic development purposes approved by council, such as business attraction and retention, site readiness, infrastructure studies, small business support, and redevelopment efforts. The intent is not to eliminate economic development incentives. It is to make sure public dollars are used more strategically with clearer standards, defined results, and council oversight.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Yes.
I just want to say I fully support this, and I think this is a really good use of future funds for a huge opportunity for CIC.
Thank you. Anyone else? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin.
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Yes.
Ms. Gentry.
Yes.
Thank you. That has passed. If the clerk would read by title only, ordinance number 26-63.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 25-193, appropriations for fiscal year 2026 and declaring an emergency.
I move for the suspension of council rules requiring 3 readings. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin.
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh. Ms. Gentry.
Yes.
Thank you. I move for passage of ordinance number 26-63. In discussion, I will turn it over to Mrs. Crossy.
Thank you, Council President. So we just have a number of adjustments here to the tune of $316,000. One of them is for increase in fuel costs for public works due to the increase in prices of fuel. And also a couple replacements for public works as far as a trailer shipping expense and also heavy diesel engine. And also the last couple are regarding the new bond payment for 2026 for the Electric Boulevard and Walker Road Phase 6. Debt.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin.
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Yes.
Ms. Gentry.
Yes.
That ordinance has passed. If the clerk would read by title only, ordinance number 26-64.
An ordinance allowing beer, wine, and hard seltzer-type beverages to be sold, served, dispensed, and consumed at a 2-day waterfront summer festival titled Pour on the Shore, to be held at Miller Road Park on July 31st, 2026 and August 1st, 2026, and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Cos,
I move to suspend the council rule requiring 3 readings.
please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin?
Yes.
Mr. Koss,
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Cos,
I move for passage of ordinance number 26-64.
discussion.
Yes, sir. As noted in my Public Safety and Health Committee report, this was passed with a 3-0 vote out of the committee. This is the former Avon Lake Beer Fest, which has been rebranded as Pour on the Shorts, now a 2-day event at Miller Road Park, July 31st and August 1st. There will be fireworks on one of the evenings. They're looking to do more activities and make it more of a 2-day festival type of feel rather than just one specific day. The police chief was at the meeting and he had no concerns with this. We've been working with the Avon Lake Boosters who put this event on for years, and we've never had any issues with this event. So he had no concerns, and again, it passed 3-0 out of the committee.
Any further discussion? If the clerk would please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin?
Yes.
Mr. Koss,
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh? Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Thank you. That ordinance has passed. If the clerk would read by title only, ordinance number 26-65.
An ordinance awarding a contract for the Walker Road paving project, Phase 6, and declaring an emergency.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Thank you. I move for suspension of council rule requiring 3 readings.
Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin?
Yes.
Mr. Koss,
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Thank you. I move for passage of ordinance number 26-65. In discussion?
In discussion, yes.
Okay. The city engineer has prepared plans and specifications for Walker Road paving project Phase 6, which has been defined as Jaycox through the intersection of Lear. Okay? And he has invited bids for the construction, and these bids were received, opened, and tabulated. And it was determined that Phillips Paving LLC of Chagrin Falls is the lowest and best responsive bid after advertised in accordance with law and is acceptable to this council for the sum not to exceed $1,131,639.20. This ordinance is hereby declared to be an emergency measure, the emergency being the necessity of resurfacing Walker Road to provide safe travel on this busy road. This is for the public health, safety, and welfare. And I'd like to go into a little bit of detail if I could, sir.
Certainly.
Okay, I did receive from our city engineer, and he's also a PE and a surveyor, Mr. Stuart Levis, the following. He said that he opened the bid on July the 9th, and Phillips Paving LLC was the only bidder. The bid tabulation was analyzed for accuracy, and it was all in order. The base bid total amount was, as I said, $1,131,639.20. The engineer's estimate, though, was $1,011,310.50. Therefore, there's an 11.9% increase over the engineer's estimate. The allowable limit by the Ohio Revised Code, Section 153.12, is 20% over the engineer's estimate for a municipal corporation. The bid bond was listed as First Founders Assurance Company, that's a surety, and appears to be in order. 3 subcontractors were listed, and they appeared to be in order. Other forms were completed as required by the bid documents. 3 references were checked, 2 from ODOT, 1 from the city of Mentor, where all 3 were positive. This project has Ohio Public Works Commission funding. And therefore, he said, let's go forward with it. He says, it is always desirable to have 3 or more bidders. However, July is very busy time for the contractors. This has been a very busy construction season. Contractors are not as hungry for work at this point in time. Delaying the project to another year, like next year, is not desirable due to the volatility in the economy. The cost of asphalt and other construction materials are related to the cost of petroleum. The cost of petroleum is affected by the conflict in the Middle East. Delaying this project increases the risk of an escalation in the cost of doing this work. Therefore, I would recommend, and this is Stuart Levis, PEPS, our city engineer. He recommends awarding the Walker Road Rehabilitation Phase 6 project to Phillips Paving LLC in the amount of $1,131,639.20.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
The engineer might have.
Mr. Levis?
Thank you. I'll tell you this, none of us have a crystal ball, but next year, the construction season is expected to be very busy as well. And number two, just reported in Reuters here that our conflict that's going on overseas has just caused an increase in oil prices of 9%. So, things are not looking the greatest. If we wait, it's probably going to be worse. So we might as well get it done and get that section that's mostly in the red as failed from that pavement management group study, get that repaired.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin?
Yes.
Mr. Koss,
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Thank you. That has passed. The clerk would read by title only, ordinance number 26-66.
An ordinance confirming the mayor's interim appointment of Beth Crossy to the position of finance director, establishing the rate of compensation for said position, and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Reynolds,
I move for suspension of the rule requiring 3 readings.
please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin?
Yes.
Mr. Koss,
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds,
I move for passage of ordinance number 26-66.
discussion.
This ordinance will allow us to, on an interim basis, replace Ms. Crossy with Ms. Crossy.
Thank you. And
Couldn't find a better fit.
okay, and that's as part-time?
Yes.
Right, okay. Any further discussion? Yes,
But-
Mrs.
Thank you,
Fenderbosh.
because we have been through this before and with another situation. And my question is, how does the administration want council to be contacting Ms. Crossy? Is she going to be here? Do we email her? Is there a phone call? Because when you say part-time, I would imagine that she does not need to come to council meetings at night, right? So how would you like us to proceed, Mr. Mayor?
I'm gonna leave that to
Ms.
whoever
Crossy?
best it works for her.
Email would be best, or evening, like early-ish evening calls. So I
Well,
can share a phone
Maybe
number,
when the
but-
time
but
comes, you can
Email
let
would
us
be
know.
best.
Yeah, we'll get that
Yeah.
out to you.
Get us out, get it out to us.
Yeah.
Huh?
We'll be in recess.
Well, she can send an email.
No,
Still be questioned.
Regarding her availability.
agreed. No, I understand that, but you had mentioned meetings.
Well, right, but when we come back, she's going to still be on, well, we don't know. So is this 30 hours a week, or Mr. Mayor?
Be less than 30 hours a week.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anything further? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin?
Yes.
Mr. Koss,
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes,
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
thank you. That has passed. Congratulations for coming back, Ms. Cross. All right, if the clerk would read by title only, ordinance number 26-67.
An ordinance approving the final plat for Harbor Crest Townhouse Subdivision Number 1 and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Reynolds,
I move for suspension of the rule requiring 3 readings.
please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin?
Yes.
Mr. Koss,
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes,
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds,
I move for passage of ordinance number 26-67.
discussion.
As stated earlier by Mr. Levis, all requirements that he had have been met, and also the financials have also been met, and Avon Lake Regional Water also signed off on this.
All right, very good. Any further questions? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin.
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Yes.
Miss Gentry.
Yes.
All right, that has passed. If the clerk would read by title only. Good night, thank you. If clerk would read by title only, ordinance number 26-68.
An ordinance amending Planning and Zoning Code Sections 1214, 1224, 1226, and 1234.
Mr. Reynolds.
This is the first reading. This was passed by Planning Commission. There will be a public hearing on August 31st at the second reading for this.
Thank you. Any highlights you wish to let us know about of the changes?
Not at this time.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Thank you. I did have a discussion with Mr. Reynolds, and I am so happy to see some of these things in here that have been needed for a very, very long time. The one area where I do have a question that I thought perhaps should be reconsidered is in the table 1224-2. If everybody can turn to that, it's on page 3 of ordinance section 26-68. If you go down to swimming pool, it says it's not permitted, and it's not permitted in B3, which I would think that this would be an outdoor swimming pool is what they're thinking of, but just in case a hotel would go there and they would want to have an indoor swimming pool. It says right now not permitted, and also it says public and institutional district. So if someday there would want to be a Olympic-sized swimming pool inside Erie View, so that we could have an indoor pool for our residents, I don't know that that would be permitted. Maybe they have to go to ZBA, but perhaps this is just for exterior. And since Mr. Esborn is here, maybe he could come forward and speak to that point, please.
Mr. Esborn, if you'd like.
Thank you. I think when we drafted the change, we just hadn't considered that possibility of, swimming pool in non-residential. I think we're sort of open to the swimming pool thought. I think it was, sort of a broader target when we did the change. So, we'd certainly be open to discussing it.
So if I could, sir,
Sure.
The only question is, there's two different topics here at this venture. Right now, 1224-2 states minimal setbacks for accessory structures and uses in residential, non-residential districts. So my question is this an exterior use, or would this be also an interior use?
No, it'd be exterior.
Well,
Because I
then-
think,
Then I understand where you're coming from,
Yeah.
but that would not limit then an indoor hotel swimming pool. That would not limit a future, if it would ever happen, indoor Olympic-sized swimming pool at Erie View.
I think as long as it's indoor, then we're not talking about it being an accessory structure.
Because it says
Or
and
use.
uses, because it says and uses. Thank you very much. But we needed
Before
that
you go,
clarification.
is planning commission going to meet in August?
Yes.
Please take that to them.
Sure.
Please do. Thank you.
All right,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Thank you. That's all I have, sir. Thank you.
Anything further?
Nope, thank you.
All right. That concludes the first reading of ordinance number 26-68. If the clerk would read by title only, ordinance number 26-69.
An ordinance amending sections 886.01, 886.03, 886.04, and 886.06 of the city's codified ordinances to provide for the levy of an additional 0.4% income tax for 6 years, commencing January 1st, 2027, to provide funds for the purpose of paying costs of maintaining repairing and improving city streets by constructing, reconstructing, widening, grading, draining, curbing, paving, and extending streets and related bridges, and constructing storm sewers and related drainage improvements, installing traffic signals and signalization, and acquiring vehicles and equipment for city departments and functions, including debt charges on city notes, bonds, or other obligations issued for those purposes, and declaring an emergency.
I move for the suspension of council rules requiring 3 readings.
No suspension on that one, sir.
Oh, pardon me?
First reading.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's the
I'm
next one,
sorry.
sir.
I apologize. This is the first reading of ordinance number 26-69 that deals with the 0.4% income tax. Ms. Cross, do you have anything further on that?
Yes, I would say that this ordinance would be the one that the voters will be voting on in November. So the residents would actually be the ones determining whether or not it passes.
Thank you.
Okay.
When does this have to be passed in order to make the ballot?
That's the next one. That's not this
Well,
one.
that's the next resolution
Okay,
needs to be passed.
All right.
For it to
All
go
right.
to the ballot.
thank you. Any further discussion? Mr. Shamir?
Just got a question. So the 0.4% would generate what sort of revenue?
The $6.6 million.
So it will be 6.6 million. Thank you.
Well, hold on. $6.6 million was for 5 years. No,
6 years.
Annually. So the 6.6, that would increase slightly every year, times 6.
So
would
roughly
be
about the same 6.6 as the 1% would
Yes.
generate. Is it
The 1% credit reduction would bring in about 6 million.
6 million?
Yes, this
thank you.
0.4 additional would bring in about 6.6 annually.
Mrs. Fennerbosh?
Also, I believe, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe that this would also remove the property tax, the 1.1 property tax, which brings in $1,099,000. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes,
And that would go into effect the year after this would be passed.
correct.
So that would not even affect anybody
January 1
until
of 28.
28.
Correct.
Correct? I just want to make sure everybody has the information. Thank you.
Anything further? All right, that concludes the first reading of ordinance number 26-69. The second reading of this will be on August 31st, or, no, that will be after the election.
Right.
That's right.
Probably December.
Okay. If the clerk would read by title only, Resolution 26-70.
A resolution declaring the necessity of an election on the question of approving the passage of an ordinance amending sections 886.01, 886.03, 886.04, and 886.06 of the city's codified ordinances to provide for the levy of an additional 0.4% income tax for 6 years, commencing January 1st, 2027, to provide funds for the purpose of paying costs of maintaining, repairing, and improving city streets by constructing, reconstructing, widening, grading, draining, curbing, paving, and extending streets and related bridges, and constructing storm sewers and related drainage improvements, installing traffic signals and signalization, and acquiring vehicles and equipment for city departments and functions, including debt charges on city notes, bonds, or other obligations issued for those purposes, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. I move for the suspension of council rules requiring 3 readings. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin?
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Thank you. I move for passage of resolution number 26-70 and declaring as it is declared an emergency. This is the resolution putting on the ballot the question of a 4.4% income tax increase for 6 years commencing January 1st of 2007. Very similar to what we did back in May. Any further discussion? Mr. Kaz.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Council President. This is very important that we get this on the ballot and that this passes. To kind of go back into my comments from earlier on the previous one, we need a dedicated revenue source, and this is the preferred method to go. This really is. We have real headwinds with this. We got only 43% the last time. Maybe some of that was because there was a school issue on and a library issue on. We're going to have competition this November, I think, as well, too. I think the county's going to have something on. So we're going to have headwinds on this one as well, too. But we really need to come together to pass this as a community, as a council, as an administration, as a city. It doesn't mean that all of the answers to all of the questions that we have about the entire puzzle need to come together in the next 3 months, but we have to recognize that we need a dedicated revenue source in place. And if all those pieces to the puzzle do come together, we know that there's a sunset on this, and we know that a future mayor and a future council will need to look at the financial situation after 6 years and then either vote to put this back out onto the ballot or let it sunset and go away. So we've bought ourselves some time with this. It's not a quote-unquote forever tax. It's 6 years that we're asking to allow a lot of these things to come to fruition, whether that's the power plant redevelopment, whether that's the economic strategies, whether that's other types of things that we can do in the city to help generate additional revenue. But this at least allows us to keep up on the streets. We can't kick the can down the road or we get stuck with no revenue coming in for these things. So this is really important, and we're running kind of late on this. And this is I think it was Mr. Baker that asked the question earlier. Why is this up tonight? Is there an election deadline issue? Yes, there's an election deadline issue. That's why we're passing this tonight, and that's why we're putting it up, is to put this out. So the time is short. The focus needs to be on to get the information out to the public and to work together. We really do, and we can have arguments and disagreements and all of that, and we all do it. But on this particular issue, I'm hoping that we can come together and encourage residents to support it, because any type of ballot issue, any type of vote on new revenue, whatever it is so extremely difficult, But this is so important. And, when we come back from break, like I said, we're going to be going into budget season, and I think that the impact of what would happen if this doesn't pass, and then the other previous issue didn't go into effect, of what the realities for the city would be. And that's far worse than anything that we'd be voting on tonight. So we have our work cut out for us, and I'm willing to do what I have to do to get the word out, to educate the public, to talk to people, to let them know that this is an opportunity for all of our workers, whether you work in the city or out of the city. We're all going to get hit a little bit on this one. We're all going to pay our fair share. We've heard about the 75-25. This is 100%, whether you work in or out. And this is an opportunity that we're all going to hopefully take our ownership of, residents, and realize that in a community to remain strong, we're all going to have to pay a little bit more for our infrastructure. And I hope that it passes. I'm going to work hard to help get the word out on it. A couple of other things that are on this that I think that need to be mentioned. The 1.5 property tax would drop off after a year. That's been mentioned. So Does that equate to the 0.4 increase? No, it's not designed to do that. But it is put out there to recognize that we do understand that the community doesn't have a big appetite for any type of increase. And we're trying to give something back on this. We're trying to meet residents. We can't maybe meet them in the middle on this, but we're trying to do something to show that we're not trying to grab every last penny that we can. So that property tax can drop off. We've got the, like I said, the sunset on it after 6 years. It is not a forever tax. And also, we adjusted the numbers, the percentages on this. Previously, when we put this out in November, it was 65%. No less than 65% could go to the streets. No more than 35% could go to sewers, stormwater, vehicles and such. We have adjusted that to 70-30. So the idea is there a big bug right here?
There's a huge bug.
Oh my goodness, I'm gonna wrap up my questions. So I'm gonna be voting yes on this, thank you.
There's a bug, you got a tissue?
Do we have a tissue? Go get the tissue. Oh, it's a, yeah.
Oh.
Any
It's a beetle.
any further
two
discussion?
tissue.
Yes,
All right.
Mr. Shamir.
It's a 2-tissue bug.
You know, as Mr. Koss said, this is an important issue, and as we all have discussed, the funding for infrastructure is critical to the future of our community. So as far as this goes, I am in favor, but I would say the caveat of we need economic development and job growth as a part of this, especially since we do have a sunset, and without it, I think it's going to be difficult to move it forward beyond that 6 year. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Mrs. Goodwin?
Is 6 years our only option, or can we go longer than that?
Well, I think the original one we put on was for 5 years, and due to the delay in being able to do it, I think is why the 6th year was put on. I don't think that I could see us going beyond 6 years. I think there has to be some accountability, and people are gonna have to see,
Okay,
see things moving along
okay. I understand.
in the right
Thank you.
way.
Thank you.
And I too am in favor of this.
Okay.
Yes, Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I want to thank council for keeping your energy level going. It's 10:30 and we're all very tired and we're trying our very hardest to communicate here tonight, even though we had a big bug over here. Our Marine saved us. So, but what I wanted to say is that this particular item is more equitable than any of the other ones, to be frank with you. And this is really going to cost us all. It's going to cost those that work outside of the city less than the credit rate reduction. And we're aware of that. This has to pass because we do need to have infrastructure in place, and there is a plan. The administration has inherited what they have inherited. They've done a wonderful job. John Luskovic and Chris Howard, who we've worked with before as our city engineer. And I'm sure our present engineer is going to be working hard with us to implement the program ahead. And we have very, very talented, experienced people on city council. And you heard about some others that have just joined us on commissions that are going to be assisting with economic development, because creating more jobs, creating more industrial base is going to assist the entire city. And I am going to be voting in favor of this, and I will work very hard to get the information out. We cannot lobby according to law, but what we can do is to share the facts. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Crossie.
Thank you, Council President. So I would just like to say that this would be a great example of this beautiful community coming together and doing something for the community. And this was from the start the fairest proposition that was put forward. We have all residents, as other folks have stated, working inside and outside the city, paying that additional 0.4%. But I just want to remind everyone, we also have all the non-residents coming into the city to work, paying that additional 0.4%. So that's a boon to our city. And lastly, we also have the businesses paying that 0.4%. So I think it's a real win-win if the community can come together and do this for their roads and their capital needs. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin.
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Yes.
Ms. Gentry.
Yes.
Thank you. That has, resolution number 26-70 has been approved and passed by council unanimously. And hopefully, we'll see some good results in November on that. If the clerk would read by title only, resolution number 26-71.
A resolution determining that the council shall repeal ordinance number 26-54, reducing the allowable municipal income tax credit for tax to other municipalities from 1.5% to 0.5% beginning January 1st, 2027, upon approval by the electors of the city at the election to be held on November 3rd, 2026, of an additional 0.4% income tax for 6 years commencing January 1st, 2027, and declaring an emergency.
I move for the suspension of the rule requiring 3 readings.
Mrs. Goodwin.
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Yes.
Ms. Gentry.
Yes.
Thank you. This ordinance is put in place due to the reality of the situation involving our roads, and that should the previous ordinance, the question of the 0.4 income tax pass, that we will, that the ordinance removing and setting the tax credit down to 0.5% will be repealed. Any further discussion on this? Yes, Mrs. Goodwin.
I just want to say thanks to Councilman Kaz, who communicated and worked to figure out a solution for this. Speaking personally, I have learned a lot from him in the short 7 months that I've been here. And I feel that his leadership on this issue in particular was very well thought out. And I think that the repealing of the income tax credit, if it passes, I know some people may be looking at that as a threat, but honestly, I think that that is holding each of us up here more accountable because we know what the better option is.
Yeah.
But as Councilman Koss said, we can't walk out of here without an option. But we all know which one we would rather see. Come November. So I think this is just another testament to good leadership and having an opportunity for us to really come together as a council and administration and community to do the right thing for our infrastructure.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin.
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh. Ms. Gentry.
Yes.
Thank you. That has passed. Any miscellaneous business or announcements? Hands come flying up from all directions. All right.
Ladies first.
Ladies first is fine by me. Mrs.
I
Goodwin.
Thank you. I just want to remind everyone that I'm going to be hosting an at-large community session. I am purposely trying to hit my own specific demographic, but all are welcome. I encourage you to attend. My first meeting is going to be this Thursday, July 16th, from 6 to 7 p.m. in the downstairs conference room of City Hall, to the left behind the glass doors. And then I will also be having another meeting on Friday morning, July 17th, from 9:30 to 10:30. I'm providing 2 times moving forward. 2 hours every second Thursday, I believe, of the month, where I will have open discussion. This is very similar format to the ward meetings that Councilman Shamir, Councilman or Councilwoman Gentry have. And go figure, the hot topic of discussion will be taxes. So please bring more questions if you have them. I can't wait to talk more about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Thank you. So this Thursday, we're going to have Keep Lorraine County Beautiful luncheon meeting at the old firehouse. And what's really cool about this is that out of all of the communities, because we meet every 60 days, this is the one where the chair for Ohio, Keep Ohio Beautiful, is going to be here. I've invited Mrs. Goodwin to be my guest because of her involvement with the Environmental Affairs Board. We're going to have a zero waste, so it's going to be completely sustainable. And there are people from all over the county that will be meeting together to plan educational programs within the community for not just recycling, but for composting and other programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Fenderbosh. Mr. Shamir, you had your hand up as well.
Yes. Just wanted to let everyone know that this month in July, there won't be a Ward 1 meeting. The next one will be the last Tuesday of August. Thank you.
When is the CIC going to meet next?
Oh, yeah.
August 12th. Okay. Thank you. Anything further? Mr. Kaz,
Motion to adjourn.
please call the roll.
Mrs. Goodwin.
Yeah.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh. Ms. Gentry.
Thank you. We are adjourned.